Hello, welcome to the Honest Wargamer. Welcome to Hammertime 8, round 5. I'm joined by the Studio Worstwood, Mr. Benjamin Sava. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hello. I'm good, thanks. Yeah.
It's lovely to see you. That is the coolest commentary booth I've ever seen in my life.
Amazing. Yeah, this is my Urkel armchair, isn't it? It's,
You look really good. You look really chill. Have you been doing well? You've been keeping well?
yeah. I've been much better. Yeah. I've had a good couple of weeks. Feeling good, feeling pumped. I mean, I've had to take a bit of time off for playing World of Warcraft to come in here and commentate on this Warhammer. Is it called, Joe?
Yeah, it's kind of the same. It's kind of the same. More grindy than Warhammer, though. You got a lot more effort to get your characters on the tabletop, I think, than WoW.
It's much quicker to get to level 60 than it is to paint an army, for sure.
Oh, yeah, and you do it for a living. So today we're in round 5. There were several matches to match up with. There was the 70 horror list, which we talked about in round 4. Unfortunately, didn't make it through, much to my chagrin. So didn't make it through into round 5. There are a couple of Tzeentch mirror matches. There's also a Seraphon versus Dayton, our Daughters of Cain list as well. But I feel that'll be on the much, much slower end. Very, very slow. So instead, we're right on table 1. This is 100% the Archeon mirror match of everyone's dreams. Now, obviously, you can go and look at the lists in the chat if you type ! lists. And you can go and look at the rest of the bracket if you type ! event. So we'll talk through the list in a minute, but I'll just kind of identify who's where on the map as you guys are looking at it. Alan is in the bottom right-hand corner. The top left-hand corner is Stephen. Alan is going to get the choice on who goes first. These are almost identical lists, but we'll talk about that in a second. We're playing Total Conquest. So there are 4 objectives. If you take them off your opponent, you get a bonus point. If you do it with a hero, there's another bonus point as well. So that's going to be really important here. Now, these lists are pretty much the same. Stephen, top left, who isn't getting the choice to go first, has got Archeon, Chaos Sorcerer Lord. He's the general with the Fang Circlet, so 6 free Screamers. The Blue Scribes is kind of the swing unit here, and then Kairos Fate Weaver. Then he's got 2 lots of 3 Screamers, 2 lots of Carricks, Darkfire Demon Rift. One time again, please, Matt. Okay, and then just a quick one now. Host Arcanum, you're going to get D3 movements. D3 units get to move. Stephen gets to move 3. Alan is going to get to choose 1 to move. He won the roll-off, but Alan is going to choose who goes first. So that's Alan at the bottom there. And Alan's list is Kairos. He's got Archeon as well. Chaos Sorcerer Lord, also the general. He's got a load of Carricks. He's also got Umbral Spell Portal and Darkfire Demon Rift. So they're all the mirrors for each other. But he's got Be'lakor. So the difference between the 2 lists is Be'lakor is on one side and Blue Scribes on the other. Benjamin, how are you feeling about the 2 different lists in comparison?
I think different lists, calling them different lists is very generous of you.
Close enough though, right?
Yeah, they are very close. Yeah, and I think it's going to be interesting because I think you do say a lot that you really enjoyed watching and commentating on mirror matches and the kind of the idea and the theory behind them. In general, does usually make for an interesting game. But when we talk about mirror matches, of course, we just usually talk about one book versus another book, one battle tome versus another battle tome. We don't, or at least to be honest, I think this is probably the closest I've seen 2 lists to be in effect to each other. So it really is a mirror match, yeah. And I think what makes that interesting here. I mean, of course, Be'lakor and Blue Scribes are 2 completely different models, filling 2 completely different roles here. And Stephen does have 1 extra unit, which is why he's going second. Why Alan has the choice to go first. He's got 4 battle line instead of 3. But yeah, I think it means that it's a really level playing field. I think both armies can do more or less the same thing. Both players will know each other's armies inside out, and so I think it's very much going to come down to player skill, which is something I think that has been a little bit less important in AOS in recent months since Seraphon. I think there's a lot more sort of point and click builds around. There's a lot of armies that are just a little bit more straightforward, and I do personally feel that like skill is just not as doesn't have as much bearing on games as what it did, let's say, even a year ago. So it's going to be an interesting match from that point. It's really going to come down to who outplays the other player, basically.
Well, I think that's my favourite thing about mirror matches. Mirror matches is both players know the other army intimately well. They know the plays, and then even when it's just the same faction, I think that there's some interesting stuff. But even here, I think skill in mirror matches is pretty key. Now, just to keep everyone up to date, Alan has given the first turn away over to Stephen. Alan has obviously screened off with his unit of Carrick Acolytes, Be'lakor at the back of the board, and Archaon in there. We're going to talk about Be'lakor in a minute, because probably the pivotal unit choice in this matchup. Just going to talk about the Destiny dice. Destiny dice for Stephen at the top. He's got himself only 1 6, 3 4s, and he's got himself 3 2s and no 1s. That could be quite important. However, on the other side, 3 1s, 3 1s, 3 1s for Alan, and only 1 6 again. So none of them rolling particular, but there's also a 5 in there. So no one running particularly hot on the Destiny dice. Both players got Kairos, but obviously we need to talk about Be'lakor. New War Scroll out. So this is still the older Be'lakor before it gets FAQ'd and stuff. So Dark Master ability definitely will have been put on Archaon. Like, there's no way that it isn't. So Archaon at some point, and I don't think it will have been revealed now. I'll just check with my table boss, but it won't have been. It's revealed in the enemy's hero phase, and I don't think that's what's happened. So this Archaon, belonging to Stephen, I think will have to roll a 5 up at some point to do command abilities, do spells, to charge, and most importantly, to attack. So Stephen has to know that that's the case, and Alan, I think, because of that, has got an advantage, just flat out. I don't know what you think, Benjamin.
Yeah, absolutely. And I imagine it's something he's going to be revealing, having given away the first turn there. I'd imagine it's going to be something he will reveal in the first turn, just to disrupt Stephen's gameplay, basically. Yeah, it's a super powerful ability, and yeah, I mean, if he can take Archaon out of the game, because even the Destiny dice, he does have just about have the Destiny dice to make that 9-inch charge, but obviously Be'lakor's Dark Mastery can interfere with that as well. So it's a good way of stopping what is otherwise a guaranteed. I'm
going to find out from our table boss if Dark Master ability has been used. I don't think it has. It has not been used. Not been used turn 1. I feel like that's a smart play. I feel like, because they're still, like, he's going to need, Stephen and Alan, all these Tzeentch Archaon builds pretty much do the same. They get buffed up to high heaven, and then they get launched forward.
Yeah.
So you would expect...
I think the way that Alan's deployed here, I think he could probably get his Archaon into and even attack him with the 3-inch range on his tail and his sword, or the heads and the sword. He could probably kill most of these acolytes turn 1. It's quite an unusual deployment, I think. Like, he's not really using them screening per se. He's just put them almost like a roadblock, isn't it? He's just put so you can't get to the juicy stuff behind. But Archaon could just go forward and kill most of those, and then he's got no bodies. How's he going to control even 2 objectives?
We've got the classic unit of 6 screamers that are going to come out from somewhere at some point, belonging to Alan. Both players obviously got access to that. They're going to be on their Chaos Sorcerer Lords. Just found out that Archaon got a demonic power cast on him from the Chaos Sorcerer Lord, which rerolled to hit and rerolled to wound, and that got unbound, which is pretty huge. That's probably one of the most important abilities there. Oracular Vision, so reroll saves on Archaon. That's just automatic. You can't stop it. But yeah, a cheeky unbind of that is going to really ruin stuff.
And I wonder who's unbound that then. Has he done that automatically, I think, because Host Arcanum?
So yeah, because Host Arcanum, turn 1, turn 3 and turn 5, there's an automatic unbind in this army as well, which is kind of offensive, right? You've already got Destiny dice to unbind something if you want to. You've got now a turn 1, turn 3, a turn 5 automatic unbind. You've got Kairos to turn an ability down if it goes wrong way on one of the dice rolls. There's loads of ways. And then also Lord of Change, or Kairos specifically, when it rolls a dice, it will turn the lowest dice into the highest dice as well. So you've got some real anti-magic in both forces. in both forces available. So because they're both running it.
As far as I'm aware, the auto unbind, you still have to have someone in range. So it's unusual. Yeah. It's odd that Stephen would put his Chaos Sorcerer or Kairos in range of someone to allow him that. I mean, obviously he knows that he can auto unbind, and he plays this list quite a lot. He plays with Archeon quite a lot, and he probably also knows that Archeon is nowhere near as good. Barely even worth his points if he doesn't have those rerolls. I think he can whiff, quite dramatically if he doesn't have those rerolls on. So I don't understand why you wouldn't have the Sorcerer Lord out of unbind range for that.
Yeah, I mean, so it could have been the Acolytes, so they can attempt an unbind, right? And that's just in range. So let's just
I think it's only the hero, though. Is it only the hero who can use the?
Yeah, and he's been marked out there, so he's within range. So I think that's why he's done it. I mean, both the players know what's happening. They've definitely done it there. So which is Archeon 1 and which is Archeon A? No, Stephen's Archeon top left, Alan's Archeon bottom right. This is the kind of thing. We've also seen a command point spent on By My Will. So that is if Archeon dies, he's going to be able to fight upon death. Which will also be... So I think that means we're going to see him launched in. I'm not sure. This is such an interesting battle because you don't have to make the decision to put Archeon forward in any of this. Kairos can start pinging wounds through the Umbral Spell Portal. And pushing in. Also, they're both going to be racking up fate points like they're going out of fashion, right? They're both going to be generating so many summon points. And I don't think so. I don't know if he's going to even bother sending him in. Looks like he still is though. Yeah. He's put +1 attack on Slayer of Kings. He's put reroll 1s to save on. So yeah, looks like he's sending him forward.
It's interesting that there is so much parity. You mentioned fate points. And of course, they're going to be scoring the exact same amount of fate points throughout the game. So that's another thing to watch to see who uses those better. I think both players don't have a double 6, of course. So there's no way that they can guarantee, putting the other Archeon on the sword. So there's lots of little things adding up like that, which is really just going to hopefully make for a really interesting game. And we're going to see who's the better pilot here, I think.
Yeah, it's honestly really interesting to see what goes forward in this match. We've seen now also this unit of Screamers, so they've come from the Fang Circlet, so 6 Screamers summoned for free. Host Arcanum got just some incredibly strong faction abilities. Like we say, a pre-game move, a free unit of 6 Screamers, which is 160 points, and then also that Unbind turn 1, turn 3. Hello, Math Mallow in the chat. Thanks for resubscribing. Thank you to everyone for joining us live. A pretty scary army. This Host Arcanum Tzeentch build, Benjamin. Are you feeling it? You think it's a good army generally to play on the tabletops? I asked Owen last game. I think it's one of the armies we're going to see quite a bit because it's a good collection of models to paint, right? Kairos, what a beautiful model. Archeon, what a beautiful model. Carrix or even Pink Horrors, if you build them, they're great and pretty models. Not loads to do either. All right, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I think we're going to see this army a lot. To be honest, I think this. I said to someone fairly recently, this seems like the most net listed army that we've ever seen in AOS. I mean, obviously, it's TTS is our only source of data at the moment, but I don't think I've seen a list played by as many different people as what we've seen certainly on TTS. This comes up, it's often 10% of the field almost at the Hammer Times. 4 or 5 different people playing it. Potentially even more. So yeah, I think it seems ubiquitous at the moment. So yeah, I don't see as you say the production meta of it as well. It's a few models. You won't need that much in the way of summoning. I think we're definitely gonna. It seems like a mainstay definitely at the moment in the meta, and I think it will definitely transfer over to real life as well once events start back up. As I said in the chat, I'm actually painting Kairos and Archeon for Stephen, who's playing now next month. So so he will definitely be playing it. Yeah, he's obviously enjoying it, and yeah, I mean, it is. I think it's a super clever list. We saw the first iteration of it at a Hammertime. It was one of the Danish lads, wasn't it, who played it? He played it with the Bray
Casper.
Shaman. Casper, yeah. He played it with the Bray Shaman and the Portal. I remember watching that game versus Seraphon, and it was beautiful. Like, he played it so well, and it was such a clever list. I loved the synergy in there, and yeah, so I think it's good. It is a really, really good list. It's really strong, but it is quite frustrating to play against. It just kind of.
It's so demonstrative, right? Like rerolling 6s to hit against Archeon when he can have a rerollable save. Also, he's ignoring spells on a 4, then he can ignore them again on a 5 if he's got that up. He's +1 to hit, rerolling to hit, rerolling to wound, so his output's incredible. If you kill him, he'll strike you back. We saw this Host Arcanum list literally go through a Beastcore Raiders army on its own. It took out the whole army on its own. Every single model. It took out 7 Thunder Tusks and a Stonehorn. Just chewed them through. It was wild. So if you guys want to go back and watch that on Game 3 tomorrow, it was a sight to behold. So yeah, really impressive. And there are loads of Archeon builds as well. Like, it was not 2-3 years ago at the LGT where Darren was running the wind-up Nurgle Archeon list, and he did really well with that at that event. We've seen Khorne Archeon lists as well do quite well at different places. He's in a really good place. He's got a lot of keywords that like bully over, which is quite impressive. I know even people are running him in Sinesh. My good friend Jacob's running him with Glottos at the minute and running him around and using Glottos' command ability to heal him because he's got the Hedonites keyword. So it's just, he is a one-man army, really, and it's a one-man keyword war scroll. But let's talk about some of the other key players on the board, because some of them are quite important, specifically Kairos, who we've just seen move away and go safe in the back of the board. We've seen his ability to do 6 mortal wounds and pop out a spawn, which he has done in the hero phase through Umbral Spell Portal, really key for locking units up and controlling them, so he's done that there at the bottom. Also, his ability to change a dice roll, I think, is going to be really clutch in this particular game for where we might see that used. Now, it's more specific than it used to be which dice rolls he can change, but still very, very powerful. And then Be'lakor, that Dark Master ability on the board, key. Absolutely key in this matchup. That's going to be very important. And, it's a good conversation when it comes to Fate. If Fate smiles on Steven, he's going to roll those 5-ups and he's going to be able to be involved in the fight. But I think he almost had to throw his Archeon forward in some ways because he knew he was going to get Be'lakor. Be'lakor was going to come into play, so he almost has to just force it just to see what happens, really.
Yeah, I think it's the right play. Personally, I think Alan should have used that ability in this first turn here, really. But it's the right play from Steven for sure to go forward when he doesn't have to make those rolls, because of course Kairos. His ability was changed so that he can't just modify any dice. Now there is a list of things that he can modify, and certainly that Be'lakor roll won't be one of those. Did we figure out if Kairos can Kairos the Kairos roll?
No, you can't, because it's a chosen then. So I don't think you can, because you. So
okay,
just to let you know what's just quickly happened there, Archeon has used the Destiny Dice to guarantee his charge, which means he's completed his agenda. So his agenda will be obviously to make that 9-inch charge, and now he's going to have +1 attack on all of his profiles. Oh, it was a 5-inch charge. Sorry. So did he not? He must have gone for his agenda, though. Anyway, but the important point is he's splitting his attacks right now into both unit of Carrick Acolytes. So he's just going to chew through those. So I guess he's just forcing the confrontation. And he's forcing the confrontation in Alan's deployment zone. And he's chewing through all of his scoring objectives, all of his scoring models, right? And yes, Archeon's super strong, but he can't be everywhere all the time. Mm-hmm. So it's gonna be interesting. If both Archeons die to each other this turn or in the next couple of turns, then really it's going to be about what's left. They're kind of out of the conversation. Maybe Alan's in a stronger place because he's got Be'lakor, who's a pretty good mobile unit, get onto an objective. But maybe he's not, because there's still there's this unit of Pocket Screamers on the far left, another unit of Pocket Screamers at the top, and then there's also those 6 Screamers holding those objectives. So Steven's got more bodies on the board to control them, and Steven's doing a good job of making sure Alan's got a lot less. He's just going to chew through all of his scoring units and be like, cool, now bodies on the board is going to be a major issue. And then Archeon can only really kill so many units at once.
Yeah, and I quite like this play from Steven. He's not gone and actually claimed any of the objectives, but it looks like, he's measured the distances so they can get in there. He can guarantee stealing them back in this turn. Because I think what the position he's going to put Alan in now by deleting a lot of his bodies here, which it looks like he's done, is that Alan won't have then enough to go and hold these objectives. So even though Steven's probably only going to be scoring his home objective this turn, he puts Alan in a position where then he needs to, well, if he goes and claims those objectives, he's going to be doing it with only limited numbers. He's not going to be able to hold them, so then he can come in the next turn, steal them off him, and still be on parity in points. So he's playing for the long game here. He's not gone in and taken the objectives knowing that he can't defend them himself. So I think that's going to be one of the the key points of this game is that there's no models, there's no units on the board that are going to be able to effectively hold these objectives. So every time you claim one, that you're going to be giving the opponents the points for stealing it back off you, and so you have to make the choice of do I even claim this turn, or do I wait and let them claim and then steal it back off them and be a point up then as well. So yeah, I think it's a good first turn from Stephen, but. Yeah, I think it was almost he had to, as I say, he didn't have Dark Mastery on his Archeon. I think the deployment of these Kyrics was really odd because he could have achieved the exact same outcome here with just one unit spread in an arch, and then his other two units sort of a bit further back, or at least maybe one down here where the spawn is, one up here where this pyramid is, to at least threaten those objectives. But he's just clumped them all up, knowing that Archeon has 3-inch range on some of his weapons. And
and Archeon has done a great job, as you can see here. Most of these acolytes are dead. Also, the spawn did an amazing job because he rolled a 6 on his attacks, which means he gets +1 to hit and +1 to wound. Now, he only killed 3 Carrick acolytes with that, but still worthwhile, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Because it's free damage, isn't it? Free. He's obviously already killed. Well, I think he killed 4. He must have made a couple of saves on the shields with the Kyrics. But yeah, I mean, essentially now just from that one spell from Kairos, he's killed 7-8 models.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, don't forget both these players are host Arcanum, so neither of them. Yeah, go on, Steve. What a spawn! He's the best spawn. So Steve's agenda that he had was to make a unit run away. That's what he was aiming for, and I think we'll see if he achieves that in the battle shock phase. Okay.
Is that an agenda?
So he has done. Yeah, that's one of the agendas. And then he's run away, and now we are into the retaliatory turn for Alan and the Tzeentch force at the bottom, and he's lost quite a lot, right? He's lost most. He's definitely lost 1 unit of Carricks, and he's lost 2 now. The other unit has run away in the battle shock phase. Yeah, so that's pretty good. So he's just taking out all of those. Mr. John Stark thinks that's game. He thinks that's the trick. Just take out all of the scoring units, and it's all over.
Definitely on a battle plan like this, where you've got 4 different objectives to hold, and now he's essentially only got 4 models left, 3 models left.
Yeah.
He didn't have any command points in his starting unit as well, and obviously you probably take the risk of not buying a command point in a list like this because Archeon's given +2 bravery, so the Kyrics are going to be on bravery 7 or 8, so it's still risky, I think, but obviously. Archeon versus Archeon, he's cancelling out that -2. So, yeah, Battle Shock has hurt him here. And I'll just say it again, but it's just I think the deployment was just all wrong. Like, you could have lost only 1 unit there, or maybe the spell from Kairos could have hit the other unit, and the spawn rolled 6, killed 1. But yeah, I don't see why you would just throw away all of your bodies like that, really. Especially if you maybe that makes more sense as a deployment if you're going to then use Dark Majesty in the first turn. But maybe Alan's plan was to just bait Archeon over here, and now he's going to try and get his Archeon in the sword. If he can do that, then maybe the game does swing back in Alan's favour. Then even if Archeon's dead,
then his Archeon's alive. Dead, now, and a key point being brought up in the chat there is, don't forget, neither player have 2 6s in their Destiny dice. Neither player rolled them. And don't forget, they rolled those dice after they finished deployment. So, pretty important there, because maybe both players were planning to try and put the opponent's Archeon into the sword, which requires 2 wound rolls of a 6, and you can obviously choose those. Thanks to Dr. Numian for resubscribing. Great coverage over the weekend, Rob Ron. When do you think TSN Arena will be open so we can see some live coverage? Dr. Numian, more than likely May. The information should be going out the next week or so. So about May time, and then from June onwards, expect a packed schedule. So you can either come play at the TSN Arena, or we'll be live streaming some games. So that's looking really good. But again, just keep the eye on the socials for more of that info. Moving on to the actual turn, though.
I think
we are 2 victories. Go on.
I was just going to say, I think, yes, they did roll Destiny dice after deployment, but I think that's still quite a risky gamble, like hoping to guarantee 2 6s, because of course, with them both being able to unbind a spell for free in the first turn, you can't guarantee that you're going to get off the Chaos Sorcerer Lord spell for the rerolls, because then if you can guarantee, even if you only roll 1 6, but then you can reroll all the other 3, there's a good chance that you use 1 6, reroll, then you've got three other dice to roll a 6 on, which you can re-roll. So averages are you going to do it? But of course, with that, with the opponents being able to unbind, not being able to guarantee that Chaos Sorcerer Lord spell, it's a risky play to kind of deploy like that, hoping, I'm going to get a 6. I'll try an Archeon off the Slayer Kings off the other Archeon, and it's a strange list to do that in, because I think one of the benefits of playing a list like Zinch is that you don't really need to take risks like that because of the benefit of Destiny dice. So you kind of you're gambling on, I hope I roll 2 6s. I don't know. I don't know whether that was what the players were thinking, but I probably wouldn't have done that myself. But it looks like he has got off his spell.
So what he's got off so far is he's got Umbral Spell Portal off. That's really important.
He's put just down here though, look as well.
Yeah, and he's also put rerolls to hit and rerolls to wound on Archeon. So that's already sorted. And now we're going to see what happens. Not forgetting, Bellacor's got a great War Scroll spell himself, or theirselves. Obviously, that classic +1 to wound. Is it -1 to wound or +1 to wound? -1 to wound at the minute.
Yeah.
-1 to wound, which is quite nice. Little spell. So here we see the spell portal going down right next to the spawn.
Presumably, he saved his auto unbind for Kairos' spell then, for Gift of Change.
Yeah, so the auto unbind will come from the Chaos Sorcerer Lord, I think, because it's the command trait at the back of the. Is it, or is it just board wide? Is it just the?
No, you have to be within 30. Yeah.
Yeah.
And is it the command trait? So I guess it will be. Yeah.
Let me just double check. One moment in. I'm sure the chat will go for even faster than me.
I think it is the command trait.
I think the command trait is the Spell Hunters. That's the move. The once per turn, the Thieves of All Things. No, it's just once per turn any host, Arcanum, Wizard, which will be all of these. So he's got the auto unbind at any point in this first turn for whichever unit he wants to use it on.
That's quite a bold play not to use it on the rerolls there then, with his Archeon being able to definitely get into his Archeon, already having 1 6 and having rerolls. He's got 4 attacks? He'll have 5 attacks if he makes the charge. So he only needs to hit with 3 of those, with 4 of those. If he hits with 4 of those, he's got 1 6 that he can guarantee, and then he's got rerolls on the other 3. So averages are you'll get 1 6, and then his Archeon's dead. I think I would use the auto unbind on that every time there.
So I'll tell you what, is going to let us know who's cast this now, but I'm pretty certain it's Archeon has just cast the Umbral Spell Portal. Yeah, so he's...
No, it looks like he's casting Demon Rift there, look.
Demon Rift. And has anything gone through the Spell Portal yet? So Demon Rift has been cast. placed there by Archeon. By this Archeon on the right, and moving up there, as you can see, surrounded by wizards. This could be quite a few mortal wounds. Now Archeon obviously ignores spells on a 4-up, so he's going to be fairly safe against those. But interesting choice
on a 4-up as well. So I mean, he's doing this essentially just to kill a spawn, which.
Well, I mean, he just wants to clear him off. Have we seen anything go through the spell portal yet, Tobos, please? We'll just find that out. No, currently not. I mean, so he did try to put a spell through it, and it got auto-dispelled. There we go. So was it Kairos' War Scroll spell? That's the one. Yeah,
that's what it would have been, yeah, for sure.
Wow. Okay, so in the magic phase, Archeon with his spell ignore did not ignore the Demon Rift. He didn't. And then he's got his 4-up save against mortal wounds. He only ignored one of them. He's just taken 8 mortal wounds from Darkfire Demon Rift. That is rough. That is super rough.
Massive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, stick on top of that Kairos' potentially flat 6 mortals that we had coming in. And that's pretty rough, especially as that can happen again next turn. So we'll see what the decision is there.
Yeah, it looks like he's got off. I can't remember the name of that spell now.
Infusion Arcanum. So Infusion Arcanum has gone on for +1 to hit, +1 to wound.
So he's already see the end of. I think we're going to see the end of Stephen's Archeon here in this turn.
Yeah, definitely. That's kind of the key. That's the kind of. But he's got By My Will on. That's important. So
does that last until your next hero phase?
Yeah,
it does. Yeah. Okay.
So I think
yesterday we saw a game where both Archeons went into each other's swords in the first turn of a game. We might potentially see that again because although he doesn't have rerolls, he still has that 6, and he's going to be fighting on death. So maybe we'll see both of them. I mean, if we see both of them, then it's Stephen's game, I think. But if we see only Stephen's Archeon go down, then yeah,
importantly, it's still the end of the battle round. Thanks, Twitch chat. That's the important point. Yeah. So I would wait. I would wait it out. I think that's one of the suggestions in here. Like I get buffing this because the rerolls to hit, rerolls to wound, and +1 to hit, +1 to wound will survive. They will last until the next turn. So I'd just be tempted to not bother throwing anything into Archeon, if I'm honest with you. I think that's kind of key. Not forgetting that, of course, those 6 Screamers, little bit of a bait there, they can fly over Archeon and do more mortal wounds when they fly over him. And because he's a wizard, instead of just doing 1 mortal wound on a 5-up, they're going to do D3 mortal wounds on a 5-up. So there you go. There you can see the movement now. So that's quite a nice little play. And maybe one of the reasons we saw that screen of Acolytes, he specifically wanted him to be right there and thought, I'm just going to take him down as quick as possible. And then so this is going to be some more. And then maybe we're going to see another screen set up. That could be the trick. He runs this forward, develops another screen in front of his own list here. So if Archeon could probably just move over that.
Yeah, he can fly. So I don't know whether that's particularly play, but I think you're right though. I think maybe he doesn't attack him this turn, and then even if Archeon's out of position here now, I suppose he can still use things like Spell Portal to put the Chaos Sorcerer Lord spell onto Archeon through the portal.
But not reroll saves, which is probably one of the most important spells.
Yeah, he won't be in range for reroll saves. He'll only be in range for just that one spell then. I guess Infusion Arcanum is probably on himself, isn't it? But
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
this is pretty clutch. Our man Owen is going to give us an update in like 10 minutes or so because there's a pretty clutch kind of like 10-15 minutes coming on for this match to see what happens. It looks like he's avoiding the fight, which I think is quite interesting here. And we might see whether or not he charges in with the Screamers. I don't know how many wounds these Screamers did when they flew over Archeon, but we'll see if he decides to... he only won. But that does mean he's taken 9 wounds with his 11 left. The Screamers, when they get into... The Screamers do a charge. It looks like he's setting up effectively to throw the Screamers in, and he is doing it. So they've rolled an 11 there. 3 attacks each, but they do D3 damage. D3 damage. And don't forget the Host Arcanum command ability, which is improve the rend of the Lamprey Bite by 1. And that has been put on them, and a unit benefit. So they've got +1 save, which isn't as important, but the +1 rend on their Lamprey Bites, which, because he's a monster, is D3 damage. So these are really, really good. And both players at the moment are up to 8 summoning points as well. So I think maybe Alan's plan is to just get as many, kill Archeon dead, and then he can start trying to drop other units on the board, I guess, with Archeon bullying the different objectives. It's an interesting play. I'm not certain he'll be able to do that, but there's lots of... This is only turn 1. There's lots of games still to play, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Do we know what agenda Alan chose for this game? Because I think if that was his plan from the start, you might have wanted to go all in with the Screamers then and move them, leave them outside of 9, get an extra attack each on them, use the agenda on the Screamers instead of what you would do if you normally do it on Archeon. But
we don't know what agenda, if you put any agendas on.
If they've got -1 rend and they're doing D3 damage, 6 extra attacks could be the difference there between killing him and not. They didn't do any wounds in the movement phase with the
one extra, so he's taken 9 in total at the moment. So he's down to 11 wounds left. We've got the attacks. We've got the attacks, and I think maybe we've only done 1 D3 damage. I'll tell you what will keep us updated. Oh my god, if that's just 1. All of those guys, 3 attacks each. Don't forget, obviously he's -1 to hit, but they've done a total of 1 damage to him. They managed to get 1 wound dice through, and they didn't even roll a 2 on the D3. They just rolled a flat 1. So Archeon now is going to probably slap those poor fellows to death. So that was not...
And then that's even less bodies. He's literally, if they all die, I suppose they're 3 wounds each. Will he kill them all?
He's killed 4 straight off from Slayer of the Kings.
Okay, so he'll kill them all. And then Alan's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 models left. 6 models.
But he does have 8 fate points. So, summoning is going to happen sometime soon.
8 can't summon anything yet, though, can it?
No, but next turn, I envision we're going to see another Darkfire Demon Rift, and now there's not an auto unbind for either player.
Yes.
So it's just going to be rolling dice, which I think is quite interesting. And then put in Kairos's flat 6 mortal wounds through a Demon Rift. It would be very lucky for him to be able to, in the next magic phase, take the enemy Archeon out. But, he kind of wants to, and he doesn't want to do it via combat. But most importantly, so all the Screamers are dead now. Most importantly, the My Will Be Done will be off. That's the important point, which means Alan can go in against Steven's Archeon without fear of being attacked.
Such a big risk, though. I mean, hoping that you get that double really there. And then even things like, I was just thinking at the end of his movement phase that what I'd like to have seen from Alan is he seemed to just shuffle these, shuffle the rest of the models up, shuffled Sorcerer Lord, shuffled Kairos, shuffled Be'lakor. It didn't seem to be like there was much thought in where they were going and what they were going to achieve in following turns. I would have liked to have seen him be much more proactive with these heroes, because obviously you're going to have to summon from the heroes. So even if he does get the next turn and gets a couple of spells and can summon some blues, I suppose he can move first, can't he? Actually, in the next turn.
So no, I'm with you. I understand. In a perfect mirror match, both players for the priority roll rolled a 2. So they both rolled a 2, meaning Steven gets a turn. Steven has got a turn. He's chosen the turn. First thing that happened, Alan screamed through the void, Dark Mastery. So Archeon now has had that popped on him. So he's now going to have to roll a 5 up to be able to cast spells, use command abilities, charge, and also fight. So that's going to be important. I don't think he's going to mind, though, because first thing he'll do, there we go, is that 1 CP spent to drop My Will Be Done. And I think that's what Alan was hoping would go away, really. He wants it so that he can send his Archeon in and just kill him with impunity. Just charge him and kill him. If not, Yeah, but yeah, I know. Yeah, I said so. But now that By My Will has been placed on Archeon, so he's not going to be like he's going to have to kill him at range. If Archeon doesn't already just go straight into the enemy Archeon, and probably at this point he should. He's only got 10 wounds left, and but this is where Be'lakor might play. This is going to be really interesting. How big a game is this? This is 2,000 points, Stephen Mack. Welcome to everyone. It's 2,000 points. This is actually round 5 of an online TTS event. So both of these two players have played 4 previous matches, which they've all won from a field of about 80 people. These are the 2 people most likely to take out the event. There is a top bracket of I think about 8 people who have so far won all of their games up to hit now, so 4-0. Most of them are Tzeentch. There is a couple of other lists in there. There's a Seraphon list. There's also a Daughters of Cain list. This is the top table, though. Both these 2 players have achieved the most of their secondaries in the field, and they've been mirrored against each other. A strong showing from the Archeon build there. At some point, we're going to be getting an update from our man Owen in the field about what's happening at the rest of the event. But right now, we are into turn 2 of this match, where Archeon on the left, belonging to Stephen, and if you type !list, it will get you the lists, is about to go through. Yeah?
I was just thinking, it seems like both players, but more Alan here is taking a lot of risks. He's taken certainly more risks than you would normally associate with a Tzeentch army. One of the great things about playing Tzeentch is that with things like Destiny Dice, you can guarantee things. You can you can be a little, you can take less risks, and you can sort of hope that, you don't need to hope that certain plays go off. But I don't know whether that's, maybe it's the nature of the matchup. Maybe it's with both players being able to guarantee so much that it's going to come down to something like that. Something like players taking risks, like even here on the kind of not really committing with Archeon. Kind of, it seemed like he was kind of playing hoping to get the double, which is probably the biggest risk you can take in Age of Sigmar, to hope to turn to the double, knowing that he's got Dark Mastery, so at least he's got a little bit of insurance. But even then, that is still a huge that's still a huge gamble, hoping, okay, if I don't win the double, maybe I could put Dark Mastery on him and take him out that way. But Stephen still could just roll the 5s ups and potentially kill his Archeon here, whereas I think the guaranteed players, I think if Alan, especially with all the rerolls and the pluses to hit, went into his Archeon first, I think his Archeon would be dead now. And so if you're balancing out that sort of risk reward, maybe is it better to just go in and guarantee to kill his Archeon with a small chance of him Slayer of Kings in you, and in return, like the way that he's his risk management here seems to be that like he could potentially lose his now, and I don't know whether Alan doesn't have By My Will up. He doesn't even have the command point, it seems, unless he hasn't put them on. He should have gained some command points, but he hasn't used By My Will now when Archeon has used his, which is obviously the win. You have that window if an opponent uses a command ability, you can use that then in response. So he doesn't have his on, so he could potentially lose his Archeon here and not kill the other one.
Yeah, of course.
And he's just hoping that he basically rolls doesn't roll the Dark Majesty. So
one of the interesting things is Mr. John Stark is pointing out that both Archeons have a 100% chance of Slayer of Kings. It's not actually accurate. So what he's talking about is, because Kairos can obviously choose the result of a dice, what could happen is doesn't matter which Archeon, because we're in a mirror here. If you want some fun, engaging tech, is one Archeon can charge in, use a Destiny dice for a 6, which replaces a roll, right? And then you can use Archeon. You can then use Kairos to turn it. Yeah, I'm pretty certain that's what you can do, and in the order of process, because it's not modified. So there is there's a
that's a good point. Yeah, I hadn't considered that actually.
Yeah, both players have a Destiny 6. There we go.
But as I say, Alan's doesn't have By My Will on now. I would imagine that Stephen's not going to use another command point in this turn now, Unless he put that on when Archeon used his in the hero phase.
I think he has put by my will done on the bottom Archeon, 100%.
Oh, he hasn't.
No, he hasn't. He's put Oracular Visions on. He hasn't put by my will on actually. So I don't think we've seen. We don't see. I don't see it. And no, because it would have to happen this battle round, right? It goes at the end of the battle round. So he put it on last. He could have put it on last battle round, but he hasn't. So it doesn't matter. So
could have just put it on in this turn when Archeon used his command ability, because you can use the other ability on the War Scroll, isn't it? I forget its name, but if your opponent uses a command ability, then you can use your ability, which lets you then use by my will in response. Let's see if we can find the War Scroll.
Yeah.
So he could have done it in response to Stephen using his in his hero phase.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Means that he can guarantee now that Stephen, can guarantee to kill his Archeon with the Kairos, and then now he won't be able to fight back, so he can't.
Well, either way, let's see what the board looks like if neither of these if neither of these two models are alive at the end of this turn, because the board then feels like it's very significantly in favour of Stephen. He's obviously got Kairos at the back and Kairos on the other side, a little bit further away, but then the rest of the models are available.
Yeah,
so we're into movement now, and we're going to start seeing maybe the blue scribes. We think we might see that flip over and try and go grab this bottom objective. We've got this pocket unit of screamers here, the other unit of pocket screamers on the right hand side, going to grab this objective as well. So there's loads. Okay. So yeah, there's loads of little units, and unfortunately it doesn't feel like Alan at the bottom has the same number of units to be able to do that, right?
No, I think this is the turn that Stephen could definitely put some models on the objectives now without fear of sort of at least Alan taking both of them back, because he's only got two Kyrics here that can challenge that objective, which are not going to outnumber this 10 without some support from Kairos. But then he doesn't really have anything that can threaten this one over here. So these three screamers can come up and just sort of clip the edge here, and he can definitely, he'll definitely be able to hold that one, I think. Well, not definitely. Of course, he can still summon things, but he can't summon. He's not going to have enough summoning points to summon onto both, and I don't think he has the ability to threaten this top right-hand objective here. That Alan, that is. So yeah, I'd say this is the turn. Stephen can probably start scoring points without
way
fear.
above. Way above what Alan can. Can I just thank Griffin Gaming for raiding us with 4 people? That's awesome of you. Welcome everyone to the show. You're actually joining us for a mirror match on the top tables of Hammertime 8. Watching these two players roll off against each other is an exciting time. We're in turn 2. The Tzeentch Force on the left. Okay, so Archeon has passed his Be'lakor roll to move. So this Archeon on the left has had Dark Mastery from Be'lakor placed on him. So he's only going to be able to move if he rolls a 5 up. He's only going to be able to attack if he rolls a 5 up. He's only going to be able to charge if he rolls a 5 up. And that's going to be pretty important. And it looks like he's not going into the enemy Archeon at all. Looks like he might be running away. He's got Shield of Fate put on him. That's going to be really important. He got that through the spell portal. Oh, I think he got that through the spell portal. Did we not see that cast in the end? We'll find out. And Shield of Fate was put onto Archeon, so that's going to be there. So I wonder if we're going to see this Archeon run away from this fight. He was measuring that up, so we'll see what happens. He has. He's moved away from the challenge here. He doesn't fancy his chances of doing the charge, so he's looking to just score the points on the objective. He's got By My Will Be Done on him, so if the enemy Archeon comes and charges him, then he's comfortable that he might get to fight him. He's also healed 2 wounds, so he's got 12 wounds left still. So just looking to see who can outscore. Maybe we'll see these screamers fly across the board as well, grab the back of that objective, sit themselves on the objective, and then outscore again. That'll be quite interesting. We'll see if that happens here.
That's the play, isn't it? Because you can't just leave Archeon on there on his own, I suppose, because although, yeah, I mean, he as you say, he can guarantee with By My Will and 6 and Destiny Dice and Kairos. He knows that if Archeon comes in, he can kill him for sure. And so maybe he could. Maybe Archon can just keep this objective on his own. Leave the Screamers as they are, as a threat to steal something back, or even move them a little bit further down towards the bottom of the board near where this spell portal is, and then be threatening this other objective. Yeah, I think the ball is definitely in Stephen's court here. I would say. I like that. I like that moving him away.
I think that's a smarter play, right? That's much smarter. That's much better than just like obstinately throwing him in. I think that's really important. Big shout out to Mere Mouse in the chat who says put the sword in the sword. Everyone wants that to happen. I think the runaway is a smart play here, and then it keeps that my will be done command ability is really what's setting this all off. Again, just for anyone who isn't sure, that means of course when he is struck, when he dies, he's going to be able to fight upon death. That's going to be quite key. So I'm actually really excited to see. And does that get around? Does it get fight in the combat phase? No, I wouldn't. I don't think it gets around Dark Mastery. But it's still a really good command ability, and also like he's played quite nicely. Oh, so there we go. Another 4 points there. Another 4 points dropped on. And so he's got 6 points now. And then what would you do if you were Alan in this situation, Benjamin, sorry.
Dark Mastery does last until Alan's next hero phase, doesn't it?
Yes.
Does it drop off now?
No. It drops off until so it started at the start of Stephen's hero phase, and it lasts until the beginning of his next hero phase. Oh no. Until
which would be his hero phase now.
Until Stephen's next hero phase. No, Alan's next hero phase. Oh fuck! When does it go to?
I think it's now. I think it's dropped off already, hasn't it?
Yeah, it drops off now. Yeah.
I think the only time you can get 2 turns out of it is if you get doubled, essentially. So if you use it in their hero phase and they went second, and then they double you, it would still be active until your hero phase. So that has dropped off now. So he can't attack Archeon in combat with his Archeon because he knows that he'll lose it. So perhaps he'll do. I mean, he got so lucky with that Demon Rift, though. I don't think you can sort of carry on, like play hoping that you're going to get those 8 wounds again, because there's just a 50-50 chance that you do no wounds, and then obviously he's got a 4+ save against them, and he's back up to 12. So yeah, it'd be very unlikely that he's going to do anywhere close to 8 wounds again. I don't know. I think Alan's up against it here. What would you do? I mean,
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. He's clearly doing a lot of measuring now, trying to decide what to go through. I think ultimately Stephen's made a nice play. He's just gone in aggressive, and that's one of the things I was going to say top of the show. Like, I think one of the things that you see a lot from these Archeon lists is they just throw Archeon in. Like, the units at the back are just there to hold the objective, and at this point, all of those things have been screened and cleared out. So now the enemy Archeon just has to go in and fight the other Archeon, and he can't go and attack the enemy's bunker. So he's got loads of options and loads of play. So yeah, I would agree. Like but not forgetting Alan. So he's in the bottom right. He gave the first turn away. He was like, "You take the turn, off you go." And then he put that bunker. He put that bunker in
since then, really.
Yeah, he's been up against it since.
His play here, actually, looking at it and having had a little think while you were chatting. Then he needs to sort of get parity again on the amount of bodies. So I think he's got to throw his Archeon forward towards Stephen's home objective here, I think, because otherwise he's just going to lose the game from him having more bodies, really. I think he needs, and he can't fight. He can't send his Archeon into Stevens, as we said. So yeah, I mean, it looks like he's measuring towards there now anyway. But
to their
I think
bunker.
he's got to send his Archeon to do what Stephen's Archeon did a turn ago, really.
And we still got some like output, right? He's still got Darkfire Demon Rift. He's still got Kairos's Mortal Wound spell, so he could be doing 6 Mortal Wounds this turn. The priority roll's coming up as well. So if he got double Fate Weaver spells into Archeon, he could potentially absolutely smash through 12 Mortal Wounds. You know, if the dice go in the right direction, that's not including a double Demon Rift. You know, and if he ends up with just a wound left, there's always Bellicor to try and chip off that last cheeky wound and grab it off the board. They're both players now are racking up the CP, and they're on 13 fate points each. So they are laughing in this situation. They're covered in fate points right now. So they're going to be able to summon a bunch of models ASAP. So I think that's a nice thing. And then like blue horrors, all sorts of stuff, right?
Yeah, 10 blue horrors. I think it's 10, isn't it? You can get an Exalted Flamer for 12. But you know, are they? You know, Stephen certainly hasn't spent any of his in that turn. So maybe they're sitting and waiting for the pinks, which is I think it's 20 points, isn't it, for 10 pinks? It could come down to sort of who wins that next roll, I think, because he's obviously still got a few more spells from Kairos. So I think they'll be within striking distance of the pinks at the end of this turn, and then maybe it comes down to who wins that roll off and who gets their pinks down on an objective first, which will obviously be quite difficult for the other army to shift with anything other than Archeon. So then you're kind of dictating, or you're kind of controlling the play a little bit in that sense. And you know, you put the pinks down, let's say on this top objective here. You know, maybe you're forcing Stephen's hand, then he has to come over and deal with the pinks with Archeon. So he has to leave that objective. You know, sort of if you're doing that, then you know where Archeon's going to be in the next turn, where he's got to go. He's sort of controlling the enemy's turn a little. But I think Alan probably does need the double here now, and he needs to kill as many of his bodies as he can this turn.
And let's see what he decides to do here. So he's put Spell Portal right into the middle, it seems. And I wonder if he's going to try and drop himself a spawn and mirror what we saw Stephen do turn 1 at the back of the board, instead of trying to throw anything into Archeon, which I think is quite interesting. Not forgetting, obviously, that Shield of Fate is on Archeon, so he's got an additional spell ignore, so that might be really changing his thoughts here. I would say that I feel like Alan is really against it, and if this priority roll going into 3 goes to Stephen. So yeah, Gift of Change has gone into the Acolytes. There's a spawn that's been summoned, so flat 6 mortal wounds in the back of the board. So so 5 of those are dead. Spawns on the objective within 3. So it looks like Archeon is going bunker busting. He's going to go repeat the process and hope, I think, with the fate points that he's got and a Archeon who's buffed better, basically womp forward, take out most of that back bunker, and start summoning units. Like, he can be the first guy to put down a unit on an objective, right?
Yeah. And certainly, like if he can clear, if Archeon does come over the top here and go into the Screamers, which I think he kind of absolutely has to do now at this point, then he's on for a double. If he wins that double, his Archeon can probably then go into Kairos. He can, maybe with spells from his Kairos. If he sends Bellicor up, he could deal with the other two heroes over here. Then that means only Archeon can be summoning. So you've kind of, you've taken out 3 key pieces there who can be using these fate points. Stephen's obviously sat on those fate points, waiting for the opportunity to spend them. But if Alan can win the double here now and take out all of his heroes, and he's only summoning from Archeon, then you've greatly limited what Stephen's able to do, or where he's able to apply that sort of apply those fate points.
Yeah, now, agreed. Now, there's lots of conversations. Iron Gutsman, one of my favourite Warhammer players in the world, currently in the chat. He's just talking about, is the Kairos rig dice still available? Both Kairoses on the board have got their rig dice available to use. And how that works is quite important. They can choose... He can choose a spell, he can choose to turn a dice roll once per battle on either player's turn. If this model is on the battlefield, you can replace a single dice roll from one of the following dice rolls with a result of your choice. So the casting roll, the unbinding roll, dispelling roll, run roll, charge roll, hit roll, wound roll, or save roll. And any roll that determines the damage characteristic of a missile or melee weapon, and then battle shock tests. But you can't replace a single dice roll for 2d6 rolls, such as casting rolls, charge rolls. You can only replace one of the dice rolls. So that's going to be really important. So a bunch of stuff's seen there.
Yeah, it's an excellent game of chicken as well in this
with chickens,
isn't it? Two of them, because the longer the game goes on, the more likely there will be a situation in which you had not sort of planned for, where you have to use your Kairos dice, or you're forced into the making the decision of whether to use your Kairos dice. Because I think, how often do people with Kairos go into a game having a plan for what they're going to use it for, and then end up just using it for something completely different? That I've seen games where I think it's in a game with Laurie where he used the Destiny dice to stop someone from unbinding a spell so that he could get the extra fate points so that he could bring down 6 flamers, which is something you just, you're never gonna account for at the beginning of the game. Obviously, both of their players are sitting on that 6, and they're sitting on their Kairos dice as the insurance against the other person's Slayer of Kings, the other player's Slayer of Kings. The longer the game goes on, it's a sort of game of chicken. If someone uses theirs first because maybe he fails a charge and he needs to make this charge here, potentially Alan might even have to use his 6 here from his Destiny dice, which means his Kairos dice is even more important then to make this charge. I think it looks like when I measured it, he was 10 inches away, so he might have to use this 6 and 5. So it could be, it could come down to who holds on to their Kairos dice longer. Because
I've got to say, I'm not sure on Alan's play at all here. He's just relocated. Basically, that's been the plan. He's been like, cool, I'm going to relocate. I mean, so he's going to be worth 2 models on the objective at the back. So his plan is to charge Archeon in, kill all the Screamers, I assume. But then even if he kills the blue Scribes, there's still 3 Acolytes, and they've got a bravery check. Although Stephen is sat on a CP. He's sat on a CP, so he can just make them immune to battle shock there, which I think is quite interesting. So he's going to be able to control a load of the board space. So 10 summoning points are now being spent in this situation for blues on the back objective. So this is what he's seeing. He's not using it to go and grab anything at the top, and instead using it to screen Kairos there and make it so that he can hold this objective against Archeon for a turn while he attacks his opponent's home objective and try to flood the board. However, Archeon can bunny hop next turn into there. The Screamers can come over. I think he's in a good spot there. But then
he needs to set these blues up perfectly, really, because
he does. He really does.
If Archeon come over here and get into Kairos this turn, it does look like he is as well. Look, I mean, he knows Archeon has a 3-inch range. Why isn't he measuring 3-inch screens?
It's true. Because he has it.
You're wasting 10 points. You're wasting 10 fate points there because your screen isn't even screening at them. I mean, maybe he's still moving them, but
there we go. He's screened out a bit more now, so we can see there.
Not like enough though, does it? We can't really measure it at this point, but
no, we cannot. So I mean, that's the gossip for all of us at home. The big question is that intended to be 3 inches away from Kairos? That's what we're looking for, because he's got a 3-inch weapon, so he could reach over the top. That's kind of key for you guys to talk about at home. I'm sure many of you are sat in bated breath in your lounge with a cup of tea, watching it. I know some people are watching it out in the sun with a barbecue. That's the future of Warhammer Live coverage. Oh, lovely! Oh, lovely. Okay, well, while we wait for this game to proceed and we see whether or not this 11-inch charge happens, we're going to jump over now to our man in the field, Mr. Owen Jackson. He's going to let us know what's happening in the rest of the bracket at Hammertime 8, Round 5. Over to Owen now.
Oh, man, I wish I was like all the viewers being in a field. I wish I was in some sort of field now, laying next to some sort of beautiful lady, holding hands, listening to some nice music, drinking some alcohol. But no, I'm in this room, sat where I have been for the last 20 hours with all you wonderful nerds talking about Warhammer. So let's have a little look at what's been going on. So, yes, I just wanted to fill you in on a couple of results and also a bit of info on what's happening on the top tables. So there are currently 5 players who can win the tournament. This is going to be obviously Steve and Alan, who you can see. There's Zinch Archeon, of course, on the top table. And then we've got Tyler Buckets Pearson with a Nurgle Blight Kings list. He's facing off against my pick from the list show, the Caradron Overlords, the Barrack Thring lists, the Thring thing with the Celestant Prime and the Hearthguard Berserkers. And then Dayton, Mr. Honest Wargamer, one of the crew on, with his 4-0, he's playing against Ridge Hanna. So this is kind of like a battle of the content creators. So you've got Ridge Hanna from Season of War, Dayton Obrey from the Honest Wargamer, both Canadian residents. It's a civil war, and it's being fought between Snake Ladies and Death Lizards. So that's what's going on. Couple of results. I did have one result in 35 minutes, which was Caradron Overlords just hosing and tabling some Ogre Moor tribes in about 30 minutes, which is a shame. And then we've also seen the 80 Sentinel list just shot off all of the Zinch in, again, about an hour. So there's some rather horrendous output being doled out on the middle tables there. A couple of really quick games. But yeah, up on the top tables, there's it still feels quite tight. There's still a long way to go. I think we've still got another hour and a half left in the round. So I think I haven't got a huge amount of other things to say other than it's a Sunday and we're all having a nice time and Warhammer's great. And I'm going to return you now to Benjamin and Rob, the babes in their booths, and they're going to tell you about what's going on table 1. Cheers, boys.
Thanks very much there, Owen. Right, back in the game. So as you guys are looking at this, we are in turn 2 for the Zinch, who started on the bottom right, specifically belonging to Alan. You can type !lists. You can type !list in the chat and you can see the lists specifically. So Alan has just, in his turn, flown his Archeon over, attacked a unit of Screamers that were on this objective, and has slain them all. To let you know what kind of happened in the first turn, the turn was given away by Alan, who started in the bottom right-hand corner, to Stephen, who started in the top left-hand corner. Then Stephen buffed up his Archeon with all of the buffs, threw him at a unit of, 3 units of Acolytes, really, as well as summoning a spawn, and eventually all of those are dead, apart from these 2 Acolytes up here who are running away. Then we saw Alan with his Archeon, let me get this right, there's a lot of Archeons to say, throw his Darkfire Demon Rift to do 8 mortal wounds into the opposing Archeon. Then we've seen him throw 6 Sky Sharks into him as well, but he did no damage and Archeon batted him away. Priority roll went to Stephen in the top. Stephen decided to run away over onto the left-hand corner. Be'lakor used his ability on Archeon, but he was still able to move. Both Kairoses on the board have still got their cheat dice, and we're about to go into priority roll for turn 3. And Stephen, so top left, the Archeon that is currently in the bottom left-hand corner, but the player who started at the top, he has won the priority on a 2-1. Benjamin, how do you think that puts the board?
I think that could be it now. Then, he still doesn't have, just doesn't really have an option to deal with his Archeon. But I think if I was Stephen, I would go over here. It looks like I did just do a cheeky quick measure, and he can get Archeon into this Kairos, or at least he can get the Slayer of Kings in there. He's Stephen's still got his 6, still got his Kairos roll, so he could kill he could kill Kairos now, delete his Kairos roll as well in the process. What is that ability called?
Which one?
The Kairos ability.
Oh, that's a great question. I'm pretty certain it is called the Oracle of Eternity.
Oracle of Eternity, yeah. Okay, so he can delete his Oracle of Eternity in return. I mean, we didn't see it. It was just when Owen was speaking, but of course, Alan used his 5 and his 6 from his Destiny dice to make that 11-inch charge into the Screamers. So he's lost his 6 now as well. Mm-hmm. So I think the play here from Stephen would be to go into Archeon, send Archeon into his Kairos, delete the Kairos, or delete Kairos, or at least force his hand, because maybe he forces Kairos then to change the charge roll for Archeon, so Archeon can't make it in. Mm-hmm. But whatever the case, as long as Alan doesn't, long as Stephen doesn't have to use his 6 and doesn't have to use his Kairos, means he can kill Archeon in the following turn with his then, without any fear of, or with a very, very much reduced fear of getting Slayer of Kings back, because he would just be relying on rolling 2 6s then, because he doesn't have a 6 in his Destiny dice. And if Stephen, as I say, can force his Oracle of Eternity this turn, puts Stephen again in the driving seat, I think, there but yeah, I think that's what you do up this turn. I mean, you still do have the big question of what to do with Archeon up here, really. There's not really, he doesn't really have much left in the way, much left to be able to deal with that. But maybe he just, makes this play.
I mean, it's also a race against time, right? So it's just grabbing objectives is kind of the key point here. And right now, the score is 6-5, so it's pretty close. This unit of Screamers at the far top left, they can just go and outscore. They can just go and outscore the Carrick Acolytes on the bottom, on the top right, for a while at least, until maybe Be'lakor comes over. But they can at least trade off on that objective for this turn. This unit of Screamers can fly over. And then, of course, like we said, he can threaten this back objective with Kairos and the Blue Horrors. Not forgetting he's also got a load of summoning points. Alan's already used his to put his Blue Horrors down. We're at 17, so there's a unit of Pink Horrors available. Okay, so we've seen some fun magic phase as well. So yeah, he's on 17 fate points, so 3 more spells, and he's going to be able to put the unit of 10 Pink Horrors, which pretty much is going to guarantee an objective at some point. Somewhere he can even put because I'm right. I think I'm right in thinking he might even be able to put a unit of horrors on this objective here, where the blue horrors are.
I think he would be able to do it with the blue scribes. I think fly over the top with the blue scribes. Maybe you need a run roll to actually make it past Archeon, but then he could summon a unit of pinks here. And I think, like I was saying in the last turn, it could come down to who gets their pinks on the board first, because I don't think Be'lakor is going to go through a unit of pinks anytime soon. If the pinks are in range of the blue scribes when he moves them over, so they're not going to die from battle shock. Because having played quite a few games with Change Host this winter, wasn't it? During winter, I think their main weakness is battle shock, really. So if Stephen plays this turn right, I think he could wrap it up, to be honest. Because yeah, as you say, I mean, even if he doesn't summon there, he's got the 3 Screamers at the back that he can move on to this objective, reclaim that. He's already got this one. Well, he's already got these 2. So, he'll be going up to 10, 11, 12 points maybe. You score an extra point for heroes on this as well, don't you?
You do. Just a little note of what's happened in the hero phase in kind of important points, not forgetting that this Archeon at the bottom is going to really suffer being outside of some of the buff ranges, is that there was a Chaos Spawn, this one specifically for Dwarf Penguin, which was generated by this Kairos at the back, through a spell portal into this unit of Acolytes, generated a spawn. This Kairos took that personally. The other Kairos then bolt have changed that spawn, murdered him, and generated his own spawn from the dead spawn.
The old see your spawn and raise your spawn.
Yeah, Spawnception. So this is actually Spawn 3. If anyone's keeping track, Steve the Spawn. This is Steve the Spawn 3 now on the tabletop. So that's really fun. Yeah, Steve 3. Is what we've got. So, I'm not sure how many spawn have been summoned here, but it's been quite a few. Other buffs that we've seen go off, obviously we've got the exploding attacks go off on the acolytes there. And then also we've got 20 fate points generated at the moment. So that's all. We're in turn 3 because both players are Host Arcanum. They've both got an automatic unbind from any of the Host Arcanum wizards. And so Kairos tried to cast Geminids into Archeon the Everchosen, and Archeon said no and just turned it off with the automatic unbind. So no Geminids there, making Archeon -2 to hit, which would be quite nice when all of his buffs come off in the next hero phase. So yeah, it's Return of the King, Steve 3, everyone loving the spawns. Yeah, I would agree with you. It's looking, I would say, it feels like it's in Steven's wheelhouse. He also healed another wound, so he's up to 7 now. Up to 13, but he's only taken 7. And this Archeon could fly across the board, like you said, and threaten this home objective. But he needs to somehow stop the Archeon on his objective.
I don't know whether he does at this step. I don't think he needs to this turn.
Well, don't worry.
It's got so many other plays.
I already know what the play is now because there's an agenda been called. Steve's Archeon has nominated Alan's Archeon to die. So he has targeted him for death. Not forgetting because and therefore both Archeons have put by my will on. So something that maybe should have happened turn 1 is happening turn 3 instead. So we're gonna get the fight right here with both Kairos still got their cheater dice available.
But the upper hand is obviously Stephen has the upper hand here because he has the 6 in his Destiny dice still, and Alan has used his.
Exactly. Yeah, for that big charge.
But Alan does have the reroll wounds, and so he can at least change one, or at least he can roll first and then change it afterwards with the Kairos dice, can't he? So there's still a good chance. I don't know whether that's the right play. I think Archeon should be going down here into Kairos.
You think Archeon should be going down into Kairos? But he wouldn't score the objective, right? Yes, he'd kill Kairos, but he wouldn't then kill the horrors. Then the next turn from Alan...
He could just put the Slayer of Kings, because he can guarantee the Slayer of Kings. Then he could put all the other attacks into the horrors. It's only 20 wounds. He'd have Dorgar's heads, tails, and claws. Should do 20 wounds. There wouldn't be any hero down there for Battle Shock. He'd take the objective. He'd score 3 points there. He could fly the brimstones over. He could fly the blues over the top. He has summon the pinks. If the blues are also on the objective there, he scores 3 points there. Moves the screamers up down here. Scores the 1 point there. Keeps his 2 points there. That would be 8 points. He'd go up to 14 to 5. Kairos would be dead. The blue scribes would be dead. Yeah, you're leaving Archeon to do his thing, but at that point, he's only got Be'lakor and two acolytes and Archeon, and as you know, as we've said, Archeon can't be in every place at once. He can only take one of those objectives back that turn for a maximum of 3 points. So at the end of this turn, it could be 14-9 to 14-8 even. And then at that point, I think you're just too far ahead on objectives.
Okay, we'll see where this plans out. Because it's not his plan, though. He's going for Archeon, so now we know... Oh, apparently he might be getting cold feet, and he's changing his mind here. Don't forget, this is more than likely to take out the tournament. So lots of thinking to be decided between these two players. They're going to have to make sure that they don't make any mistakes. It's already such a mind... It is a mind fuck, this game. Honestly, you can change dice. You've got Destiny dice. You can die when you fight. There's lots to consider. I think holding off on the summoning points is pretty clutch there. Ultimately, 10 pink horrors going on to any of these objectives is going to be pretty much game. And because those blue horrors had to go down the turn before for Alan, he really doesn't have that efficiency of output. So, efficiency of kind of summoning. So, yeah, those 10 wounds going down this late is pretty much that objective's never going to be anyone else's.
It just seems like Alan is doing everything a turn to, he sort of. He sent his Archeon over here a turn too late. He had to put his pinks down here a turn too early. it just seems like Stephen is one step ahead in each of the turns, and that could be down to Alan giving away that first turn. I still think the play, if you're going to give away that first turn, I still think the play is to use Be'lakor in that first turn.
Yeah, to make it so that he can't do anything.
For him to play around in the second turn, he used it there, but then Stephen got lucky on the 5+ and was able to just move away, and then essentially you've got no value out of that Be'lakor. Whereas if you used it in the first turn, he might not have. There's a 66% chance that he just isn't even able to move. So then you've still got all of your Kyric Acolytes left.
True.
And you've wasted a turn with Archaon, and you're on for the double.
It's true, and then he could have thrown his Archaon forward, like with impunity, buffed up to high heaven, and attacked into the opponent's army. Right, done the same thing. But like he's an Archaon, like you say, a turn behind. Yeah, I mean, there we go. Lots really to think about in this match. It's one of those ones you could probably watch through several times and make a bunch of different decisions. But now, I'd like them to make any fucking decision. I'm on tenterhooks, and I just want them to decide. Table Boss, I'm pretty certain they're still talking about movement, right? Good. Appreciate that. The gentleman, that's rude. Welcome to the show. If it's your first time, you might not love it, but it's a fun ride. So buckle up, baby. Right. So what? He's got to just choose, right? It's either go for Archaon, it's go for Kairos. Benjamin thinks go for Kairos. Do I disagree? That's the question.
I think if he goes for Kairos, then Alan has to use his Kairos dice to stop the charge. So you're just forcing his hand there. You've still got 2 turns to play. He's got the upper hand anyway. If he can force his Oracle of Eternity, you're just reducing the amount of resources that Alan has, and sort of setting yourself up to win in turns 4 or 5.
Yeah, you are. Like, I think you taking Kairos out, you're probably right. It puts him more bodies on the board. He's still got more units. He can throw the Screamers around. There's lots to do here. Like, he's got like units. He can surround this objective with units. He can screen with like the Acolytes and put the rest of his units kind of around. So Archaon won't be able to go through absolutely everything on this objective. So even when he's fighting, he's not going to score everything. This pocket unit Screamers at the top can go grab the back objective. Then Be'lakor will fly over and recapture the objective. The Chaos Sorcerer Lord can also come down and recapture the objective, so they're kind of retrading on these all the time. But he's got this back left objective and the top left objective all his. And then as we go into turns 4 and 5, this Archaon can clear and consolidate. And yeah, he might lose that top left objective eventually. He's going to be up. Yeah, and he's made your decision, Benjamin. He's gone for it. He's gone for it. He has gone for Kairos, even after choosing Archaon for his agenda. I'm not sure. I think.
Yeah. So what I predict now, then I think we'll see Alan use his Kairos dice to stop this charge from Archaon, then, which is good. I think even though it stops Archaon from killing Kairos this turn, I think that's still a really good.
Well, so I don't think you can stop him.
For Stephen, I think.
So I don't think you can stop him. It's a 7-inch charge. He can use. Oh no, he's still got his 6. He could use his 6 and let's say the 4, and then Kairos can change the 6 down to a 1. But then his Kairos can change the 4 into a 6, and it's a 7, and that makes his charge.
Ah, nice. Yeah. Good maths. I like that.
Yeah, quick maths. That's me. Fire in the booth all day. We've seen the Screamers move across here. They've gone in. So they're going to grab that top objective and score him not only the point but a bonus point for grabbing it. The Blue Scribes have moved down, which might mean we're going to see those a pink horror summoned on this bottom objective, or maybe he'll just summon blues. Look at Kairos. He has gone right in the corner for a late game pop at that Archeon, making sure that and Kairos also has Shield of Fate cast on him as well. And then I imagine you're going to see the Spawn, the Sorcerer Lord, and also the Acolytes flood this objective. Oh, okay, so in order for Archeon to go over and kill Kairos this turn, he's going to need a 12-inch charge after he moves. And that he's not going to do that because he needs to clear everything off this objective to consolidate the objective. That's what he has to do. So it's not going to go very well for him. Oh, and look at him screening off, making it. So this is an interesting little take here, Benjamin. The board edge and the base are going to really cause some contention here, right? He's going to want to take a beeline. He can't put his base anywhere within 3 inches of these acolytes, so he's zoned that off quite nicely. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think that's a good play. I think keeping Kairos alive is obviously quite clutch at this stage because he hasn't used his Oracle of Eternity. I think if he'd already used that, it would be less important. But
he's also a summoning. He's also a summoning point, right? He's also a summoning point for I suppose he's a summoning point. He's casting 3 spells a turn, but I mean at this stage in the game, he's not as important if he doesn't have that Oracle. Because I think, although that would be cute to use it to change, if Alan uses his Kairos down here to stop the charge, it would be a cute move to then use your Kairos to get the charge in. But then obviously you're not guaranteeing, your Slayer of Kings anymore. So it could end up that he doesn't end up killing Kairos and he's wasting it. I think if Alan does, stop him down here, he wants his Kairos alive then to keep Oracle. I don't think he's going to change it to get him in. I think he saves it then for the following turn when he can either then guarantee go in, kill Kairos, or he can come over here, guarantee kill his Archeon, which he can't do back then. It's turn 3, so I think you would dispel Alan's rerolls to hit if that was your plan in the following turn. This turn you'd just use your auto and bind to dispel the reroll, hits and wounds, and then the fight, the Archeon fight, which I imagine everyone's hoping for, is going to go in Stephen's favour then, I think, or it's much more likely. The odds are in his favour at least then. So yeah, I think you definitely want to keep your Kairos alive in this, so it's a nice play. Yeah, it's really nice. And also look at this, the blue scribes have dropped down, but instead of just dropping the blue horrors on the objective, he's used them to screen up against Archeon. So even if Archeon does fly over and decides to try and charge, he's not going to be able to kill the blue scribes, and then he's also going to do nothing to the unit of screamers in the bottom left hand corner either. So he's double kept that really safe there.
This is a really nice turn from Stephen. I think even just the positioning of these blues here, he's measured the 3. It just seems like he knows that. It seems like he knows the list a lot better. I know that Stephen has been playing it for a long time now. He's played it quite a few of the TTS events. I don't know how long Alan's been playing it, but I think there's lots of just small things or seemingly small things like positioning, board control, that seem to say Stephen does know this list a lot better than what Alan does.
Yeah, of course. I think both players had a goal ahead of time. There we go. The Archeon charge has gone in. I wonder if we saw any dice used to achieve that. So use Destiny dice to 7, and Kairos not using any of those to change it up, right? Fascinating. Okay. So he is within range to attack Fate Weaver, as you discussed with the Slayer of Kings. So
he can kill Kairos, delete his Oracle of Eternity. So then, why wouldn't you use it? If Kairos can guarantee died now, then you've foregone using Oracle of Eternity to then just let him die, and then you don't get it anyway. So there's no point in not spending it on that charge.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I think maybe he's going to use it for a save or. Okay, so what's he elected to attack? Please, table boss. We'll just double check that. Okay. So the 1-inch attacks, just like you said, Benjamin, going into the horrors, and then the 3-inch attacks going into Kairos. He's currently done 11 damage already to the blue horrors. So that's going to be pretty key. And he's going to have 6 brimstone horrors left. And if Kairos dies, he won't be able to CP them. So they'll be on a battle shock of +4 on there. So they could potentially, on a roll of a 6, run away. Is he moving them off the objective? That's not right. Let's not do that. There we go. They're being put on the objective. Put them on the objective. So he's gonna be on a battle shock test of +4, and then Archeon, of course, Benjamin, your favorite thing. He's going to reduce that by another 2, right? Or plus that by another 2.
Yeah, reduce their bravery down to an 8.
Yeah. So that means that they potentially can run away on a 4-up. The whole unit could go of brimstone horrors off the board, and then that means he would also grab that objective. So that's going to be pretty important. So we'll see whether or not Kairos dies this turn. That's going to be the kind of important point here. So he has rolled.
I definitely would now. If I was Stephen, I would use the.
So he has rolled 1 6 into Kairos Fateweaver there for the Slayer of Kings. It looks like, but he didn't. Oh, so Slayer of Kings didn't have range to get to Kairos. So he's taken 7 damage. 7 damage. Kairos not dead. He's got 14 wounds left.
It's a 3-inch range, though, isn't it? That's within 3 there.
It could be 2. It could be 2. I think maybe their heads are just 3. So we'll double check now. Okay, on. Slayer of Kings is a 1-inch range. 1-inch range for Slayer of Kings.
Oh, it's the tail and the Dorgar, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and he did 12 damage to the horrors of the Slayer of Kings. So there we go. Owen in the chat just letting us know Alan is a top player but plays all sorts of armies, whereas Steve has been crushing this list for some time now and he knows it inside out. So that's going to be one of those key pieces here. So he's definitely going to grab this bottom left objective, which he's already held. So there's no change there, but he is grabbing a new objective in the top right-hand corner. So that's a bonus for him. And he's still sat on 10 fate points versus the 11 fate points, although there should be some parity, I think, between them. They've spent different amounts. That's what we're seeing. So yeah, 10 versus 11. So there is another unit of blue horrors for both players to put on the board at some point. And now we're just going to be involved in some brimstone horrors trying to attack Archeon for some reason. And also Fateweaver.
Okay.
You could say that it's not Steve who follows, but everyone who follows Steve. Good work, Dwarf Penguin. And thanks everyone for joining us live. This has been a fun weekend of Warhammer. Next up, we got Alan's choice. We've got Alan's turn 3 and what he's going to do. And he's pretty limited in his choices. He can grab this top objective. Oh, Kairos did 2 damage to Archeon, which is not nothing actually. He's down to 9 wounds left. That's going to be really important. With By My Will being on there as well. So we'll see. He could put Bellacourt onto this top objective to fight those Screamers and grab this objective, at which point the Acolytes could go over and swap again to keep rescoring that. And now Archeon can go over and fight this objective. So really there's 2 objectives currently happening for Stephen at the top left, and then they keep rowing over this other objective, and then the bottom objective and the top, their home objectives are in row with each other, basically, at the moment. And then, yes, he spent a CP to keep the horrors from running away, so they're staying there on the objective now. And Steve has stored another 6 points, putting him up to 12 points, and now Alan's turn 3. Do you still think it's all over, Benjamin?
I think it's just in points as well now, isn't it? It's 12-5. And what can he get back here? You know, I suppose he could get, if he gets Bellacore onto here, kills the Screamers, that's 3 points. He's still got this one here, so that if Kyra stays in combat, which would potentially be a mistake, but he could score 2 there, so 5. And I don't think he can get this one back. He could potentially get this one though. No, or even could he though?
I don't think he can. I don't think he can get.
I don't think he can get this one, no, just because of the Chaos Sorcerer Lord there, because even if Archeon goes forward, kills the Kairos and the Spawn, the Sorcerer's going to be still there. I suppose he could do the... Oh no, he can't even do the agenda, can he?
Yeah, so we've just heard that Demon Rift was attempted to be cast by who? Sorry, Table Boss? Just double check. By Archeon, but it was unbound. And so... Oh no, he failed to cast it, but he did successfully cast Fusion Incarnum, so he's got +1 to hit and +1 to wound, so he's buffed up again there, so he's a little bit more ready. I wonder if I thought we might see Demon Rift come out against Archeon over here, but no, we're not seeing that at the moment. There's only 9 wounds left on this Archeon at the bottom. With Fate Weaver involved in that fight. Fate Weaver probably going to leave that objective. I imagine the Brims are going to run away as well from the fight and not get involved. We are seeing -1 to wound on the Screamers in the top right-hand corner. Bellacore probably better just doing an Arcade Bolt in that situation. But he's also got a Mystic Shield, so Bellacore going in this turn. Good conversation like we had yesterday when we saw Bellacore play with his new War Scroll. Currently, it's not certain he's going to go over and wipe those Screamers out. I think with the new War Scroll, he definitely has got a fighting chance of taking out those Screamers. So,
I thought it was exactly the same. Sorry, excuse me for yawning. I thought the War Scroll was pretty much exactly the same, wasn't it? Is his output?
Yeah, he's a little bit better. That's it. Right, a little bit better output, but also he's got more saves. More wounds. More wounds and a bit more output. I think it's worth it, personally. Just going to say that, but we could talk about that tomorrow on tomorrow's show. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, Bellacore, buffed up. He's got that unrenderable save with those 8 wounds, and rerolling 1s to save does mean that those Screamers are probably for it at this point, although the Acolytes can then go trade again onto the objective, so that's quite fun. And then we'll see these guys move away in the bottom as well. That's kind of the key point here. I mean, again, just more fate points being generated. Long hero phases for both players. Lots of casting, lots of attempts to uncast as well. Like, considering both armies really are just a couple of models, it's not been quick. Let's be real. Like, we're turn 3, hour 42 into it. Lot of thinking time. And actually, you know, they're on track to take the... They're on track to finish the match in time, but having so few models, Benjamin, gives them more time to think in the thinking phases. You got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, in both players' defenses as well, like, you know, you consider the amount of plays and counter plays in this matchup, and decision paralysis is gonna be starting to kick in. Or if it didn't even, you know, you could start the game with decision paralysis as well. So the amount of choices that you do have, I think it's definitely commendable if they can get through this game, even with the amount of models on the board. Yeah, if they can get through this game in 3 hours, then I think they've both played a great game, really, to be honest. I think Owen has been said he's been quite strict with the round timings now, because I think that was one of the things about TTS is it, you know, seems like people, or at least there's been many more occasions where games have gone on for like 5 hours. You know, just because
I've said this about real life matches. I think that's also true. I mean, I've seen some slow ass real life match games as well. So
that's true. I think, like, at tournament, there's a lot. You know, you're not going to carry on playing a game after 3 hours if you've got to go through to the next round, or even if it's like the Saturday night or the Sunday night, you want to go either out to eat or out or back home. You know, I think running over the amount of time seems to be more of a thing in TTS. So I guess it's something people have got to get used to again now with real events starting back up. You can't just say, oh, should we just, you know, we're just sitting at home, let's just play it out anyway. You know, Luke Morton, for instance, play and Owen play like a 6-hour game.
No, thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
No, thank you forever. Right, so Be'lakor there got reroll ones to save on Be'lakor, so it moved up finally onto that objective there. They're going to be taking this objective back. Archeon, I wonder here whether or not he's going to just go into this Chaos Spawn. Chaos Sorcerer Lord also there. Carrick Acolytes. He could potentially hit all 3 points. I would have been tempted to have maybe put the Spawn closer to make Archeon have to make more choices. It looks like he might be able to fit in quite nicely here, put the 3-inch range attacks onto the Chaos Sorcerer Lord, and wipe out all the other units as well. So we'll see. This is the last game of the day, ladies and gentlemen. This is both players probably playing to take out the tournament here. So we're going to find out who potentially wins Hammertime 8, which will be nice. But it more than likely is a Tzeentch Archeon list. Although there are other people in the bracket. Yeah. So,
there are other people on 3 wins, are there? Yeah.
Yeah, there are. There's a Daughters of Cain list. There's another Tzeentch Mirror Match list also happening at the same time. And there is then a Seraphon versus Daughters of Cain list as well. That's also playing to take out the tournament. There we go. So the Archeon now looking at where he's going to reposition himself. This isn't something you can do in real life. You can't pick up your other Archeon model and move him around. But I'd be tempted to take a base with me to events. I don't know about you, Benjamin, but I think that works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's definitely a few little tricks and things that I've learned on TTS that I'll be taking into real life as well. I mean,
is that like taking a spare base with you and stuff?
Yeah, taking a spare base. I think I mean, even just like something as simple as, for me, I noticed with Lumineth Realm Lords, I'd never really considered a sort of Holy Within as being a circle before. Just the way that we see with auras. I think that's one big important thing that has helped for me, because I kind of think in I don't really think in visuals. I think more in words and sentences, I suppose, and so I don't really visualize things very often. So I'd never considered a Holy Within bubble being a circle like that. And I think, especially playing an army like Lumineth, I think, which is it's almost like doing spirograph. It's concentric circles within concentric circles, and helping to visualize that within circles has helped to sort of helped a lot with movement and positioning, and making sure everybody is inside of everybody else's circles. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest things I'll take away from TTS is just sort of the way to visualize bubbles and auras and things like that. But yeah, I think there's probably quite a few other things I can't think off the top of my head. But as you're playing along, there'll be certainly a very big difference in the way that people who have been playing TTS and then the people who have just not been playing at all will be playing.
Yeah. I agree. So I think that there's lots to learn from here. Also, we all need 3-inch and 9-inch sticks. It's like vital, as important as dice, I'd say.
Tokens. I never used tokens before TTS as well, and yeah, I mean they do just make life a lot easier. It's just one less thing to remember. Like, I do have a really good memory, and so I do often remember where my buffs are. But it's just so much clearer for your opponent. For yourself, it's one less thing to remember. You don't have to remember where the buffs are. You can just see it. Yeah, there's lots of sort of just like I think will help people to be just sort of more like like Tony Moore, who is amazing at the bookkeeping of games. I think TTS is going to make a lot more people play more efficiently on the tabletop.
Yeah, agreed. I agree. So just to catch everyone up where we're at the end of the movement phase. Be'lakor has moved. Archeon has moved to here. It looks like he's threatening this unit of blue horrors and also the rest of the board. There we can see he summoned a unit of blue horrors here within range of the Carrick Acolytes at the top. Also within range also of the spawn. So maybe looking to clear the spawn via shooting, who's only got 4 wounds left, so Archeon can make a larger charge into the Acolytes or the Chaos Sorcerer Lord. and to try and take that objective, or maybe to attack these Carrick Acolytes at the top. Who knows? So, but there's lots of there's 1 CP in the bank. Sorry, hold on for Alan. There are 2 CP in the bank, so he's got some command points for rerolls. He's still got Kairos. Be'lakor has made a charge, so he's got a 3-inch charge there, so he's on it. We've also seen the Chaos Sorcerer Lord move up. We've seen Kairos move out of combat with Archaon, and we've also seen the Brimstone Horrors move out as well. Archaon has got 10 wounds left at the moment. Now Big Archaon himself, so Archaon fully unwounded up here at the top. So this is Alan's Archaon. Okay, so he rolled for the Horrors first, did not get in. And he's used a command point reroll, didn't get him in, so he's got 1 command point reroll left. And Archaon has made a 6 and he's charged in, so he's after the Chaos Sorcerer Lord and he's after the Chaos Spawn on that objective. He's still not going to take the objective off of Stephen here because he needs to have more to steal the objective, and he's not going to do that. So there's 1 model there. Unless he's within 3, which I don't think he's not within 3. So he's not going to grab that objective at the top.
He wanted that.
Yeah, he really wanted that charge to grab the objective.
It's another big risk, though, isn't it? Putting those blues there without them being on the objective, hoping for the charge. I think it might be the nature of the matchup, though. I think maybe it is the Tzeentch versus Tzeentch. If you can both guarantee things, then you're kind of negating your ability to guarantee things, and so yeah, you're having to take many more risks than what you would normally do in a Tzeentch army, I think.
Yeah,
it certainly seems like Alan is taking way more. He's making way more risky plays than what Stephen is, and I think, as we can see, Stephen has the upper hand here. So
he does. I think we think he does, but Be'lakor's still on the board. He's got more units. He's now put another unit of blue horrors starting to threaten objectives. Is he going to go for this back objective? Is he going to go and take that with the acolytes? There's a priority roll coming up for turn 4.
Yeah, he still hasn't got that double yet as well, which is maybe the reason why he gave away the first turn was hoping for the double, and
to clear the board a little bit. Yeah, of course. If he does get the next priority roll, he can just move these blue horrors on to end this objective and grab it. Also means he's going to score this, so he score big over 2 turns, which is going to be pretty key. It also means he can just kind of leave Archaon here and Kairos, and might be able to just pip the points if the priorities go well. If he can get the next priority into the next turn, he's going to score this turn, next turn, with some pretty good board control, and then if he can get the priority into turn 5, then he's going to be able to also push back onto some of those objectives. And in that situation, Stephen might lose out on the score here. That could be a big swing point, because he's definitely going to grab this top objective here, and he's done it with a hero as well. So he's going to get all of the bonus points. So he's going to get 1 for taking it, 1 for holding it, and also 1 for doing it with a hero. So that's going to be 3. So it's going to put it up to 12-8. He's not going to grab this top objective though. But then the turn after, he's going to score 1 for that. He's going to grab this top objective with Archaon as well. So that's going to be a 3 points. So that's going to put him on 4. That's going to put him 4 up. Oh, he's also got this bonus one. Sorry, 12-9. And then it's going to be 2 plus 5.
He'll score 2 points for this one, 3 points for that one, and he'll go up to 10.
Yeah.
So he's only 2 points behind.
Yeah, so it's very, very close. So now we're seeing the Chaos Sorcerer Lord die to Archaon. He's annoyed. He's like, you're following the false Archaon, the non-real Archaon here. You won't get to play, and so the Chaos Spawn is in it to. Can the Chaos Spawn survive? I doubt it. Basically,
I'd be very surprised if he does. Yeah, it's interesting to see that the one place that, or the seemingly the one place he hasn't taken a risk this turn is in guaranteeing this objective. He's moved, so even if Be'lakor killed nothing, he still had 4 models to take this objective, which I think is probably a risk that you could I would have liked to have seen Kairos move away from Archaon. Really, if you sort of fly Kairos over here and then put the Sorcerer Lord down here to guarantee the extra point, and then Be'lakor just needs to kill 1 model then of those. So I think Kairos is still it's just too close to Archeon here for comfort, really.
Yeah, of course. I mean that priority roll is going to be fairly key for the next turn. I'm looking forward to see what happens, but we're just waiting for these dice rolls to play out ultimately. Oh, so the Spawn is alive. Chaos Sorcerer Lord dead. Chaos Spawn, Steve 3, still alive.
Wow.
Still involved in this fight. That's not necessarily going to change the game particularly much, but it's cool that he's alive. simply put, that's the nice bit, that he's still there on the tabletop.
That's cute, yeah.
Yeah, of course. So, priority roll, here we go. So, Alan has taken it. Alan has got...
he's finally got the double then.
He's finally got the double that he's been looking for since the beginning. So he's very excited about that. So that is the Archeon that is in the top left-hand corner with the Kairos in the bottom right-hand corner has now got the priority roll.
So what can he do here then? How many points can he get to? I think he can take this objective this turn because he can use Archeon's heads to spin. He's only got 1 wound left this spawn, unless he's counting down. But looks like he's got 1 wound left, so he can just use the head. Yeah, there you go. Instead, so then he can take this objective, score 3, hold these 2, go to 15.
Yeah, he can. There's not much he can do about the bottom, to be honest. That's the key part, unless he just decides
Not
now.
now.
Well, no, I mean, if he moves Archeon around the side, so around to the left-hand side of the ziggurat, if he wants to, and then, but he's not gonna do enough there. I think that's kind of the key point. I think he's in a strong position. I'd be tempted, ultimately, to maybe just pop that unit of Carrick Acolytes at the top and make it so that I can also kind of hold this top position as well. I don't know.
You could do that with the blues. I think if you move the blues sort of to here, assuming Archeon's just going to go over here and finish. Right, it looks like he wants to go over here and kill Kairos. I saw him just measure that, but you only need Archeon to get into the Kyrix to kill them, and then you could move the blues over here. You could have just 1 blue touch in, have the rest of them in combat and shooting. They should probably be able to take out the there. Yeah. Can he get another unit of blues on? He needs to get 4 spells off this turn to get up to 10 to get another unit of blues. I don't think he can do this objective. He needed to be more.
But he only needs 3. He just needs to make it so that no one can come back. Because then in the following turn, what can Stephen do? He can clear this bottom objective of Kairos and these brims, all good. Yeah, and then it's just priority roll into 4. Priority roll into 5, and he can't score back enough.
I think Stephen could potentially retake his home objective depending on how Alan plays this now. Because these blues, unless he just moves the blues into the centre, these blues. Stephen's blues, could just move up and reclaim that. If Alan can shut down this one, then let's say Alan could score 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 this turn and go to 17. And then Stephen could score...
So Archeon has attempted to cast Darkfire Demon Rift. Oh no, sorry, Be'lakor has attempted to cast Darkfire Demon Rift and was unable to cast it. So maybe hoping to mortal wound the Screamer, get the Screamer off the board, so probably that Be'lakor could go into the Carrick Acolytes at the top and take them out, because he's got the Chaos Sorcerer Lord for the bonus points in the bottom.
It's amazing, even at this stage of the game with so few models on the board, there's still so many options. You can't, I just tried to have a quick go at mapping it out. I think it could be 1917 to Stephen at the end of this turn going into the priority. But there's just so much. There's so many ways that you can achieve that. So many ways that those can fail. So it is a super interesting matchup. It really is, because at this stage in the game, in any other or in many other armies, you just wouldn't have so much play and counterplay to consider. And so you in your average army here, you could probably math it out really at this point and see who wins. But no, I think there's just so many plays still. So it could still go down right to the wire. Alan's got to have a good turn this turn He's got to make use of this double. He's been waiting for it all game. He's got to really capitalise on it now. But I think maybe we were a bit preemptive in saying the game was Stevens in the following turn, because I think it still is anyone's. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is anyone's at all. I really wish it was a bit quicker, because it's taking forever. But there's loads of choices to make, I guess. Watching, it's kind of upsetting that both Kairos is alive and both Archeon's alive into turn 4. Like, like, what's happened? Everyone's just danced around. But they're still eyeing up the movements here and the charges.
That's the strategy against Archeon, though, isn't it? Is to avoid him for the most part, where you can. I think you beat Archeon lists by just ignoring Archeon, which is kind of what they're both doing, really.
Yeah, they are. That's true. They are both just playing around him and just dropping stuff on objectives. Agreed. And it's really the crux of the priority role that's actually determining who wins the game and who isn't, as opposed to like with the dance. So as you can see, he's just putting some more brims down, or just using brims to hold the objectives. If he was playing it right, he'd just put the brims at the bottom, wouldn't he? Like, and then Kairos at the top, so that Archeon could only attack one or the other. I feel like that's the right place, so you can't put it in between. But whatever. And then, so that's what he's doing over there. He's got 6 summoning points, so he's got no spells off this turn, so he's not. Archeon going right after Kairos, making it be exactly what I want now. Gonna murder, so he's gonna kill the Acolytes, he's gonna fit in between, he's gonna murder the Acolytes and murder Kairos at the same time. Looking to get him off the objective. He's moved those blues on, just like you suggested there, Benjamin. Dropped him down, and he's not going to be able to summon any more units. So this is going to be how the board lies. Not certain if Stephen will be able to pull it back.
Yeah, Stephen can still score big in this turn, I think. Especially if he doesn't get rid of these Acolytes. I would have moved these blues a little bit closer to the Acolytes in case the shooting doesn't do enough, and then they can charge. And then assuming that Archeon then only, can wipe these, you only need one blue horror touching the objective here. So you could have charged in and got like the 5 or 6 of them in combat, and wiped out maybe the ones that didn't die from shooting. But yes, I think Stephen can absolutely, I think he's going to score potentially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So go to 16 here. And then if Stephen takes this objective back, he scores 3. I don't think he can take that one back, but I think he could take that one back, but without a hero on it, for another 2, 5, so 17. So maybe 17, 16. Oh no, and this one here, so 2. So he could get 19. He could be up to 19 and be back in the lead.
He could be. But we've got loads to happen before that.
Yeah, exactly.
Loads to happen before that. So we'll see what happens here. Like
Exactly.
I think the movement phase is over.
It's much easier sitting here watching the game as well, rather than playing it like this. God knows what kind of state they're both in now, with the amount of decisions that they have had to make and the amount of considerations that they need to make on behalf of what the opponent can do as well. It's potentially he could definitely get up to 19, but is he going to see all of those, or is he going to do something completely different? Yeah, it's definitely still anyone's game, I think, at this point.
Yeah, we see the Chaos Social Lord at the top now in the charge phase, drop into the Screamer. In the shooting phase, the blue horrors here, they took out 4 of these Carrick Acolytes at the top. So we've only got 6 Carrick Acolytes left, and they've got a battle shot test to take as well. And then we have got no other charges. Archeon has charged in. Again, that the Oracle dice not doing anything at all here. It looks like he might try and put his 3-inch weapons into the Carrick Acolytes, and he might put all of his Slayer Kings into Archeon as well. But yeah, all-out attack on Archeon as well, so he's going to have reroll 1s to hit. So he's going to be doing a little bit better. He didn't get any buffs off, though. He didn't get Infusion Arcanum, so he's not got +1 to hit. And also, don't forget, of course, Kairos is a demon, so he's going to be -1 to hit. So that might change the math a little bit and might keep Kairos alive. Who knows? I wonder if he's going to put everything into him just to make sure, if he's just going to put Slayer Kings in. We'll find out.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose he can risk putting them all in now because he has got enough blues on here that it doesn't matter whether the Acolytes die.
Yeah,
maybe just the 2d6, the tails, or whatever. Yeah, the 2d6 tails. Maybe just them into the Kyrix and everything else into Kairos.
Okay, we'll find out from our table boss in a minute. Don't forget, Shield of Fate is on Kairos as well, so that's going to be fairly important. And then the other combats are the Chaos Sorcerer Lord at the top has charged into the Screamer of Tzeentch in the top right-hand corner, and is engaged in that fight. There are no other fights, so this is all we're going to see.
I don't think he doesn't need the Chaos Sorcerer to be in here to probably kill that. Be'lakor should be able to finish him off, but that means if the Kyrix do pass their Battle Shock test and they want to come in and take this objective, they're not going to be able to get on without being within 3 of the enemy now, and then that means the Sorcerer Lord's in combat potentially for a little bit of extra damage onto them. If Be'lakor does whiff, then he has to chop here, really.
Thank you to Caesar. What? Caesar Thank you to Caesar, Earl of Grey Tea, for gifting 5 gift subscriptions in the chat. That is incredibly cool of you. It's very much appreciated. And thank you to everyone. Thank you so much. That's so lovely of you. So a bunch of you have got some gift subscriptions, which means you've got access to all of our emotes. And because we're partners on Twitch, you've got a raft of emotes you can use in the chat if you guys want to use them. And big shout out to Mamdare in the chat, who I think maybe has won his game. Daughters of Cain 5-0. We'll double check on that in a minute. Benjamin, you saw his game earlier. Were you rating the Daughters of Cain list that he was running?
Yeah. No, I'm still really, really sore about the prayer change. I think it is a good list still, but I think it's just you've just been forced into playing that. You've almost got to play that list now, or a variation of it, snakes and Marathi, or just loads of snakes and a cauldron. I still think we had an hour-long chat about it, that the prayer FAQ. I think it's taken a lot of the diversity out of Daughters of Cain, to be honest, or at least the list diversity. I think we're just going to see more and more lists like that now. The main decision you have is whether you play Marathi or you don't. But yeah, it's a powerful list for sure. I just don't think it's particularly interesting.
So we're just rolling out this combat from Archeon right now. I just want to know. And then he's down to 5 wounds. So he's taken 9 wounds so far in the chat. And Mamdare unfortunately didn't win against the Seraphon. So Ridge going 5-0 with that Seraphon build. So congratulations to him. That's a great play on this battle plan where teleporting is really good. Super useful. Kairos still not dead.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay, so just like we prepped earlier on. So there.
Oh, yes.
So yeah, Kairos is dead, but both Kairoses used their dice roll that turn. For Slayer of Kings, we saw a 6 rolled, and then some other dice. So. Oh, it was for Kairos' save on the claws, sorry, is what it was. He used it for a save, and then the other one used it to make the damage from the claws a flat 6. And then take Kairos out, because he only had 5 wounds left. And there you go. I mean, I'd have been a real jerk and just changed it to a 5. I wouldn't even change it to the 6.
I've done that too.
So he's out. So Kairos now dead, and both have gone. And also, look at that. He also managed to kill those Carrick Acolytes, and there's 1 left on the objective. Thank you to Rival Dealer OW. Thanks for the Bezo bucks and for resubscribing. And the Screamer up here in combat is also dead. So we have got a big Yahtzee on the score there. He's going to go straight up at this point. And that last Acolyte did run away, so he's going to grab this top objective. And he's in a very strong position. Oh, and those Acolytes at the top, they also, unfortunately, no problem, they also have died. Or no, they've run away down to 2 left, so they're not even going to be able to attempt to outscore this top objective as well. So that shooting phase from those blue horrors, a really good pick from Alan into that unit at the top, making them battle shock off, and there's only 2 models left. So we're now into Stephen's turn 4. In a moment. I don't think there's anything else to count up here. They're just working out the points right now. And Stephen doesn't have much left on the board. He's got Archeon right now, and he's got this objective at the back in a really good spot. He's got this Screamer unit, he's got the blue Scribes, and he's also got these blue Horrors. He's also sat on 16 fate points. So he's got...
Or has he got? Is he only down? Yeah, it is just Archeon left though, isn't it? It's the only place he can summon from now. Mm-hmm. Presumably, Archeon has to stay down here and re-steal this objective. Although, actually, no. Let's have a look.
No, he's got blue Scribes. The blue Scribes can summon.
Oh, the blue Scribes are still there, of course. Yeah.
Blue Scribes can still summon.
He's actually only got. It's 3 models, so the Screamers can't come over here and steal it on their own.
Nope. So he's got 16 fate points, so he's got the ability to, he's got the opportunity to still put down a unit of 10 blue horrors, or if he gets 4 more fate points and 2 units of blue horrors over the next 2 turns, this priority roll into 5 is going to be important.
This turn, I think the most important thing for Stephen this turn is killing these blues, I think. So I would potentially use fate points. You need 2 more to get 3 flamers. And bring 3 flamers down here. Move these 10 blues up onto the
objective
there. Keep this one with the Screamers. Summon some flamers and just get rid of these horrors.
Interesting.
Because Archeon should be able to get this one back pretty comfortably. So he scores 3. He scores 2 for this one if the Screamers, if the blue Scribes stay where we are. So that means he's on 17. 5. So he's already ahead. But if he can score this one and steal it, he could go to 19 then, so 19-16.
And then that priority roll is going to be super important into 5.
Roll should decide it then, I think.
Yeah, of course. Okay, let's see if he sees that play. Let's see if he sees the summon here. A lot less casting to do in this turn. I think the Archeon at the bottom is a no-brainer. That just goes into Kairos, and it goes into the Brimstone Horrors. He's going to be looking to definitely get Infusion Arcanum off to make sure he can guarantee that. In a moment. There's only 6 wounds left on Kairos right now, and then I think you're right. I think it's still looking really good for Stephen. Looking really good. Dragging Archeon into that top hand corner to get rid of Fate Weaver was a good play.
Yeah, I think so. As I say, I think that Stephen's priority now for me, as I see it, is getting rid of these blues here. So it's whether. Yeah, it's whether or not he can do that. I think. I mean, I suppose he maybe doesn't. He could even if he just gets this and gets this bottom one down here with Archeon and keeps this one here, he's still 2 points ahead. But
interestingly, Steve has elected to cast no spells. He's elected to cast no spells. It looks like it's specifically to deny fate points for Alan. Straight into movement to deny fate points for Alan. Which I think is very interesting because he's only got 6. He's unable to summon anything, and then with Archeon dead, he's only going to have Archeon at the top to cast a spell, or to cast 2. Sorry, Archeon cast 2, 1. I'm not sure, and then Be'lakor to cast a spell as well, and then because it's turn 5, he's going to have an auto unbind available, so he's going to maybe make it so that he won't be able to summon anything. However, Stephen's got more fate points available to it. He's got 16, so he's just looking to deny a few points. So it's very, very close. 16-12.
I reckon he could have got away with casting 2 this turn and then left the rest. Because presumably he's going to kill, or at least he's going to be hoping to kill Kairos. Be'lakor is a double caster, so Yeah, maybe if he did cast 2 and then go up to
Just stop
18.
one.
Alan goes up to 8, and then he only needs to get 1 spell off with each of Archeon and Be'lakor to go up to 10 to bring down some blues. So that's it. Yeah, it's a really interesting. Yeah, it's commendable as well. He's thinking in that in depth at this stage in the game. He's trying to deny him from having any summon in the last turn. Like, I think it's a nice play from Stephen, I think.
And we've seen that unit of Screamers in the centre there. From the back of the board, they've run into the centre. I imagine looking to replace Archeon on this objective after the next turn. These horrors, it looks like he's just going to consolidate. I think he's working through the points in his head, and he thinks that taking the 2 bottom, re-grabbing this one at the bottom, it puts him again in a commanding position, because like we said, that's going to score him 3 points at the bottom objective. And over on the far left-hand side, that's going to score him another 1. It's going to score him 2, so it's going to put him on 5 points. So it's going to go 17-16. With the priority roll coming up for turn 5, Archeon at the top is basically worthless. He's doing nothing. He's been dragged out, so he's not going to do anything to help score points. And actually, Be'lakor isn't going to do anything. So even with the priority roll,
he could give it away then. Yeah,
he can give it away, and he's just going to score.
He could only score 2, and then he's tied, and then he wins. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the point ahead.
Nice.
But he does have to kill. Look at him, and he's making sure he commits to this play. He's done the math. He does have to kill all of the things at the bottom here. Oh, he's just in. It doesn't even matter. He doesn't have to. Nice. So he's brought the Boo Horrors in. They're shooting against the Brimstones. Brimstones also can, not Brimstones, the Blue Horrors can also obviously fire into Kairos as well. So again, like we talked about, there's going to be 3 points for this bottom right-hand objective, 2 for the one on the left. And then in the next turn, after the priority roll, that'll make it 17-16. The maximum that can be scored at the top is going to be 4 points by Alan when he grabs his top objective. And look at the board, it's completely rotated. The bottom of the board now belongs to Archeon, belonging to Stephen, and the top of the board belongs. But either way, he scores 4 points, and then 4 points also scored at the bottom means that it's going to end up 21-20 in Stephen's favour at the end of turn 5. And I don't really see there being a way out of this.
21-20.
No? Or is it 22-21? It's either 22-21 or 21-20. But either way,
yeah, I think
he'll
be 2 points ahead if it stays as it is. That's a really good turn. I think it's a really good turn from Stephen. I think it's really good foresight. He's, he isn't just playing for this turn. He's playing for the next turn. He's thought it all out.
So where really Alan shouldn't have put Archeon up there in the corner. So that was a turn 4 piece of bait, putting Kairos at the top. And he shouldn't really have been up there. He didn't really need to be up there either. Like, what was Kairos going to do? Fly onto an objective? He's one model. Yeah. I think it's actually been really interesting the last weekend and a couple of games yesterday, watching the Ogre Tribes play, and just realizing that a model is one model. But then when something's not one model, it's much more important with those 10 models that you would get for a Stonehorn or something else. It's been really, it's really changed just how I viewed some of the scoring and plays, actually, from yesterday to today. So if you guys want to go back and watch a great weekend of coverage last weekend, or actually some of the games yesterday, you'll take a load out. In the shooting phase, the Blue Horrors at the bottom here, they shot into these Brimstone Horrors. They've taken them out. They've taken them down to just 1 in there. And then Kairos has been charged by Archeon, so he's locked in combat as well, and it looks like he's got about 8 bodies on this objective, so he's definitely going to score this. He's going to be in a really strong position. I think it doesn't matter what happens with the priority roll. I don't think Kairos even has to die, if I'm honest, but he probably should, just for the joy.
Mm. Yeah, I don't think he does. No, I think this is Stephen's game now. Yeah, I think he's played it really well this turn.
He has, and I wonder how much of this was planned out the turn before, dragging Archeon up to the top left-hand corner with putting Kairos up there.
Yeah,
very interesting. I'm sure we're going to see Kairos go down now. We're just seeing these attacks pushed in from Slayer Kings, potentially from Slayer Kings. We'll see. No 6s though. But Ren 2 and a flat damage. There we go. Kairos is off the
Yeah,
board.
I think Kairos did need to die, because if he didn't, there would be potential for him to retake this objective that they're fighting over now. But yeah, he's dead anyway. So
he's dead. He's also a summoning point, like a locus of summoning.
exactly,
so you can't do it.
That's why I think there was still a play in it left.
Yeah, of course. So that's going to take it up to 17-16. Priority roll coming in. This is going to be.
They're both rolled a 5, I think, which means it goes to Alan. But
we just
I think Stephen doesn't care.
Oh, in a mirror match on the final turn, they both rolled a 5 as well. So that does mean it goes to Alan. Alan needs to decide what he can do. Stephen was last in turn 4. This is turn 5, 17-16. I honestly don't think there's anything he can do. He's looking for the long bomb charge. Is that what he's looking for? I'm not sure.
Charge, he can't get the objective, so...
Yeah. He could summon a unit outside of 9 and make a big, crazy charge with a pile-in. With a 9-inch... A 9-inch summon, and then also a 12-inch charge and a 3-inch pile-in does get you 15 inches of movement. You can put a load of bodies on an objective.
He can't summon though, actually, because he's got 2 casters left on the board,
and because he didn't exactly. It was the non-summoning by Stephen last turn, which was a great play, right?
So unbind, hasn't he? So even if they get all of their spells off and he doesn't unbind any, he's still got an auto unbind, so he can score a maximum of 3 points. That is really, really clever from Stephen I mean, he has done that, hasn't he? That's what he's done. He's elected to get none, knowing that he's going to kill Kairos, knowing that he's got a auto unbind, so the max he can score is 9, which doesn't get him any summoning points.
Yeah, of course. And then he doesn't even have...
Really amazing stuff. I'm super impressed. That's really, really clever.
Yeah, me too. Very, very impressed. He does have the Chaos Sorcerer Lord at the back, who can cast a spell. But I still don't think he can get enough spells off.
True. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's really clever to just deny those fate points this early. I think it's really smart. And honestly, not sure there's anything Alan can do in this game. I would be pretty set in stone that there just is nothing at all he can do.
I mean, if he wants the 4 points here as well, I mean, could Be'lakor get over to there? Oh, shouldn't be measuring, actually. If Be'lakor can get over to that one, but otherwise Archeon needs to be on this objective to score the bonus point to even get him the 4 points.
So his play is to get all of his spells off so he can summon. So there we go. So it's going to be pretty important to get these spells off. So that there's the only play he's got. So if one of these is unbound or automatically stopped, and he needs to
unbind. Well, he can automatically unbind one. So then he needs to unbind one of the other 4 spells left with 5 spells on the board.
Let's find out what he decides to do. He's got 5 casts, and he needs to get 4 of them off to be able to summon. Not forgetting that there's an auto unbind already in the pocket for the Siege Force.
But it still means he still needs to get the 5 spells off, I suppose, because one of them's going to unbind.
Yeah, one of them has to be unbound. That's the important part.
He's failed his first spell.
Oh.
He's rolled a 4 there anyway. I don't know what he was casting. There's nothing that's cast on a 4 in this list, so...
So no, yeah, he's failed his first spell, so he won't be doing that. So he won't be going for the summon. He might be looking to try and fire his flaming shots from the blue horrors onto the other blue horrors, give himself some room for Archeon, but I don't think Archeon's got the charge. I don't think he's within range. So there he goes. He's going to move his max 14. And I still don't think that's a 12-inch charge, is it?
Looks like maybe just about a 12.
I think Benjamin. I think this is all over. There's nothing that can be done. Like Iron Gutsman says in the chat, even if he does, Steve just kills the summons and gets the objective back. So I don't think it matters at all. I would massively agree with that statement. There's not much he can do. Okay, he's going to the charge phase. He's looking for a long bomb charge. Okay, so he got an 11 to charge them over into Steven's Blues. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, I suppose he could pile in if Archeon wipes all those out, then he does get that objective back. But
That's true. That's true. So now he needs a 12 for Archeon. A 12. He needs a 12 for Archeon. This is big. This is a big play, a big hopeful play. Where are the dice going? Let's go. Which one side of the dice? This side.
down at the bottom, down at our bottom on the blue dice.
Here we go. He needs a 12. Well, has he got a CP? CP reroll. Oh no, no, GG. That's it. He's going to be unable to get into there, and that will be the game. So, what a back and forth that seemed to be, Benjamin. What do you think?
Yeah, it was a really interesting game. I think absolutely. Yeah, I think
There was just so much to consider, wasn't there? Every single turn, even right down to turn 5. There's just still so much, as we say, play and counterplay in these lists. I'd imagine their heads or their brains are completely fried.
Mine feels fried. Mine feels fried. Like, I think I've never said the word Archeon that much. And I've said it a lot over the past couple of months doing coverage. Thank you to Jacob Berry in the chat for donating 5 gift subscriptions. And thanks for everyone. That was a mindful. And actually, it was so interesting to see what Stephen had done in the later turns. Amazing to see Alan pull a game back, which we thought was over maybe turns 1 and 2, right?
Mm. Yeah, exactly. You got that crucial double in the middle, and it seemed like there was ways in. I think. I mean, it'll be a good game for them to watch back afterwards as well if they continue to want to play this list further on, because they'll be able to see this. I mean, there's just so many different options with lists like this, and especially in a mirror. Yeah, it's been good though. Yeah, it's been a good game.
Yeah, of course. It's been a great game. Thank you very much to Benjamin for joining me for this match. It's been lovely. Thank you to the wonderful intern Matt. You're great, bringing us all the hot table goss for this match. Thank you to both Alan and Stephen for an amazing game. Thanks to Owen for organising Hammertime 8. He does it free of charge for a bunch of people in the community, so he is the Warhammer hero of lockdown. I'm just going to say that. Thanks to everyone for joining us live. You type !event, you can see the bracket in the chat, and then you'll be able to see who takes the event out. Obviously, we'll be talking about on the Age of Sigmar Stat Center tomorrow. And then we'll be talking about new Bellacore stuff and whatever tomorrow night. So it's going to be really, really fun. Looking forward to it. Benjamin, any shout outs before we head out today?
Nah.
Okay, I'm gonna shout out Budtastic Guy. That's what I shout out. I love that guy. He's a cutie. He's the Mennonite in my heart. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. Thanks to you, Benjamin. You've been great.
No worries. No, it's been fun. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Look after yourselves, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.